Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of the Scaryish podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz, and today we have a special guest, a returning special guest, our friend Ralph.
Why, hello, people. How you doing today?
What up, Ralph? This is our first ever returning special guest, so it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. Do you want to, plug in all your social media things, or?
Sure. Just Beast Nerd everywhere. Just literally, you can just hashtag Beast Nerd on
Beast Nerd.
Pretty much. It's B3AST_N3RD.
Sweet.
Right on. So there you go.
Threes instead of E's.
So if you want to follow Ralph, that's where you can do it. We brought Ralph back on because Ralph does do quite a bit of traveling. And I know you just took a trip recently. We want to talk to you about that. You have a whole lot more stories that we want to dig into. And we sat downstairs at the dinner table and we talked for like 2 hours before this about like everything under the sun, which is just a really fun time to do. So we're all warmed up when it comes to talking. So I'm really excited. So I guess let's just jump right into it. So you recently took a trip. So where'd you go?
I took a week-long trip in October. It's actually my second year in a row doing this, where I go somewhere and I do something spooky. So this year I did 3 days in San Diego and then an extra 2 days in Anaheim.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
That's not how they really see it.
A whale's vagina. I'm quoting Anchorman.
I was going to say it, but I was like, can I say that? Monetized? Can I say that?
You can say it. You can say it. Maybe that's one of the other things.
It is a medical term. It is a medical term. I can say that.
Maybe that's one of the other things that we should address. So we recently had an opportunity as a podcast to switch hosts. We've been with Libsyn for a very long time. They've been very good to us. But we were reached out to recently by a new host who wanted to go ahead and kind of take us under their wing, see what they could do for us to help us out, which has been really exciting. So you will likely hear some ads going forward, which we have done before. It's been something that's been more like personal, some private businesses and things like that. It's not that we can't do that anymore, but we're going to start having a few more things tossed in here or there. We started out, I don't know how many of you heard it before we changed it, but we had some ads that were running before the show, in the middle of the show, and after, and we decided to take out the ones that run before, because when you play our podcast, we want the first thing you hear to be our theme song and then our voices. So going forward, it'll probably just be some stuff in the middle and then some stuff at the end of the show. So it's a really exciting time for us right now. It's like we're transitioning into this new phase. I feel like we're finally moving towards like something even bigger, which could eventually lead to, bigger and better stuff. And
keep supporting us.
It's really exciting. Please keep supporting us. Your turnout, your downloads is things that people take notice of, and they've gone out of their way to reach out to us to say, hey, we'd kind of like to help you get bigger and be more in a bigger spotlight. And, it leads to the things that people talk to us about, like, you guys ever going to do live shows? You guys going to do meet and greets? And we don't know if that's like in the future, but it's definitely closer now than it's ever been before. And it's crazy exciting. It's because of the support that we receive from you folks. So we got a little bit of feedback, like ads at the beginning. So instantly I just turned that shit off. Same day I was like, nope, no ads at the beginning. They need to hear us first. So I definitely wanted to mention that. We were going to do a little bit of a video we're going to post on social media, but this weekend was super, super busy for us. So definitely wanted to address that first and foremost. Sorry for interrupting, Ralph. You just went to Anaheim and San Diego. So tell us about your spooky pilgrimages you take once a year at this point.
So I'm going to interrupt myself by saying congratulations. That's awesome that you guys
Thank you.
got this opportunity. Honestly, it's a big deal. And dude, podcasts, they're a dime a dozen in a sense. And to be recognized and to be, I guess, reached out to, it's a big deal. It really is. It really, truly is. As a podcast fan, that's a big.
I know. We want to do it the right way. And Robin and I have talked about it before. Who do we want to take on as sponsors? We've turned down some sponsors in the past because they didn't really match up. And right now we don't have as much choice in the sponsors that are going to run, but we do have a choice of who's going to host us and who's going to help us grow. And it's cool. It's really cool that someone kind of believes in us a little bit, that we've like never met. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I'm glad someone took the time out of their day to even check us out. It's pretty neat.
Right on. So, all right. Thank you so much, Ralph. We appreciate that. But tell us about your pilgrimages.
No worries. Yeah. So one of my best friends is her birthday's in October, mid-October actually. So it works out every year. We do something. We've only been doing a couple years in a row, but it's definitely something we want to continue doing because October is a great time to travel. Not very expensive. It's pretty easy to get around. It's kind of cold everywhere, so no one really wants to do anything. So it's great prices everywhere and stuff. So we decided to go San Diego because I've been to the White House a bunch of times. And I've gone to where they have the cemetery where they have James W. Robinson, or as we all know him as Yankee Jim.
Yes, Yankee Jim, which we all knew off the top of our heads.
Yes, you have.
Have I really?
Yeah.
I told you about him in an episode.
Yeah,
That's
it
why
was
you're
an
not remembering
episode.
him, because
Yeah.
it came from my lips when I talked about the Whaley House.
It was the poor dude who like hung because he stole a boat.
Yeah.
It was rough, man. But so I've been to that cemetery, and that's the cemetery where they built the city too fast. So there's literally tombstones, buried bodies in the street, but they put little like markers for gravesite markers everywhere.
That shit is so crazy. Go into a
it's
little
so
bit of
freaky.
detail. You told us about that before.
So
when it came to San Diego,
I've never seen it. I really want to see it.
Oh, it's super cool. Yeah. So in here in Vegas, it's funny because I travel a lot. I've lived in a lot of cities, and the one thing that I love about Vegas is that this city was really planned out well. So our streets almost all have 2 or 3 lanes. The neighborhoods are really planned out very nicely. But when you go to a lot of cities that grew fast, like I lived in Minnesota, and that was even worse because Minnesota, 2 giant cities grew into each other as a mess. But in San Diego, the same thing. They grew, the popularity of the area, the great weather. They had to build streets where they didn't have streets before. And so one of the things is there's that cemetery right next to the Whaley House where they built the roads there, but they couldn't get permission to move the bodies. So they built the streets on top of the bodies.
So it's like, so we can't get permission to move these people, so we're just going to build right over them. And they gave them, a medallion in the road to mark each grave that they've built over.
I'll send you guys some photos to post on it when you guys do
That's how you get a haunted highway.
But, how do the families just say, yeah, that's okay, you can pave right over them?
It's the 1800s, I'm sure there's no one left. That's probably why they couldn't get permission.
Once they got, no permission to move them, they were probably just like, well, fuck it, you can't say that we can't build over it.
That's probably why they couldn't get permission, too, to think about it. If you think about it, if you can't reach out to a family member to move a body.
That could be too.
Yeah.
There's no next of kin at all. They're just they just went for it because at that point they probably annexed the land and they're like, eminent domain. This belongs to us. We're going to do whatever we want with it.
There's literally almost, I'd say, 2 dozen little markers where you can, and then they go as far as the middle of the street and all over the sidewalk. Yeah, so you drive over these bodies pretty much every day.
All I'm going to say is if I die, I'm buried, and someone builds a road over me, you better believe I am haunting that fucking road. I will show up in the back seat of everyone's car that drives by, and I'll just have a grumpy face on, like, this is bullshit.
They have to have stories of picking up hitchhikers and stuff like that.
It's gotta be. I have a great cemetery story for you guys later. Remind me to go back to this.
Cemetery story. Don't let us forget.
Because it's where you worked before over in Arizona.
Oh shit,
I got a great story, yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay, so anyway, so I've been to this place a few times, and I've been in the Whaley House. I've been there a few times inside. I've taken the little ghost tours they have in town, and one recently in July, but I also did one about a good 6 years ago. And the one 6 years ago was amazing. They took you to all these houses that were old houses where they had, charlatans that would fake seances and stuff like that.
Wow.
So they showed you how they had, the hidden walls, sections in the wall. It was a really cool tour, and they took you to a seance. It was the coolest tour. I did it in July. Don't waste your money. It sucked.
No.
It sucked bad. They take you to the Whaley House. They take you to one a park where they dedicated. They built the park, but somehow they dedicated it to the people that built the park. And there's a cemetery in the middle of the park. It's very weird. It's the weirdest park you'll ever see. So it's kind of cool in that sense.
Was it the same tour company?
Yes. So it's one tour company.
Unfortunate.
They're done. Yeah, it sucks because that first. I remember and I was so excited to do it in July because I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And when I did it in July, it was a waste. I didn't do it again. So when my friends came in, I was like, just don't waste it. Let's just go to the Whaley House. I'll show you where the Whaley House is. I can tell you all about the cemetery. I can tell you all about, Yankee Jim and all that stuff, so we don't have to worry about it. But don't do the tour. It's not worth it. It just wasn't.
Good to know. Waste of money, waste of time.
It really is. It really. I mean, it's cool because they take you to that cemetery. But I mean, if you can just Google it yourself and just go on your own, why would you need just? I'm sure if you could Google San Diego park with a cemetery in it, you'll find it.
Right.
And that's the only stops they take you to.
And then you were saying now it's only $5 to even just go into the Whaley House during the day.
I think it's
so
a day
cheap.
thing. It was $5 or $10 to get you in during the day. And then if you do at night tours, I think they're like $30-some. So, but that's where you're supposed to. Because I'm sure you guys cover the Whaley House, and I'm sure the listeners know about Whaley House. But the big thing there is that you want to kind of go at night because of all the pictures people have taken of orbs or figures in the windows and things like that. So you kind of want to take that night tour and take a million pictures at night because you want to catch something. So that's why they charge so much more at night, and during the day no one wants to go. So it's pretty cheap.
Okay.
But it's really
they probably charge so much more at night and then just throw a bunch of dust out right before everyone comes in.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, there are orbs everywhere. The spirits are super
absolutely.
active tonight.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Just having a little kid somewhere just throwing this dust in the air.
I mean, I'm sure the dust collects on its own just because it is such an old house that all you do is right before everyone comes in, just dust off
really
the
hard.
banisters,
Just
that throw it in the
blow
air
really
like
hard,
LeBron pregame. Yeah, bring them in now. The spirits are ready for you.
I'll say this much. I would definitely recommend listening to that episode. And I'm sure we'll link at the bottom of the date what episode that is. If you're going to go, listen to the episode first because you appreciate the house so much better because of the fact that you go over the construction of it, how it used to be a a silo for like corn, and they just kind of knocked windows out in the walls.
Really?
And you could see that when you go in, you could see that the courtroom itself used to be some sort of a silo or like some sort of an area where they just stored stuff. It wasn't an actual building. You could tell that. And then the attachments on the other side of the building, the second floor, you could tell that was built on top of it, but it wasn't what it used to be.
It's like they built the courthouse into the house.
Yeah.
At some point, I think it was disconnected, and then they wound up just connecting it, if I'm not mistaken, where they just decided they wanted to have judgment directly connected to the house, where
very weird.
They could walk from their dinner table, like through a foyer, go into the courthouse, pass judgment on someone that needed to be hung, bang a gavel, and on the same property, they'd take them to the hanging tree and hang them. Which is just absolutely bizarre. I mean, if you haven't heard that episode, I'm totally going to look up the number for you right now so you can look it up.
Yeah, I actually drove, while I drove there, I played it for my friends so that they were really refreshed with the whole thing and they understood everything. So when they got the actual tour, I think they appreciated it a lot more.
That's awesome.
Really
thank
cool.
you. Thank you for pimping our podcast.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, they have a little gift shop, too, that's open only during the day. The really cool stuff in there. I really recommend getting, at least, if you're not going to do the tour during the day, at least go to the gift shop, because it's not open at night, and there's some really cool stuff in there that you really, if you want to,
like haunted objects?
Maybe. I don't know. I guess you could rub it on the building.
Rub it on the building?
It's episode 41. Episode 41 is when we did the Whaley House. It was Chillingham Castle and the Whaley House.
Yeah. And there was a shout out to me in there, so thank you.
Yes.
Aww.
I remember
there should be a shout out to Ralph in every episode, but we don't want to make our other special guests jealous.
No.
They're already super jealous because you've come back on twice. Mondo hasn't been on in over almost 100 episodes at this point.
Holy cow!
He's going to lose his mind.
Wow.
He's the original. Yeah.
He's the OG.
He's the OG. But so we went down there, and it was really cool because it was so close to Halloween, and I didn't get a chance to do it, but they were announcing that they had an Edgar Allan Poe kind of thing going on, like in a little theater close to there that you can pay like $20, and they would act out some of his books and stuff like that.
Wow.
It was, I didn't get a chance to do it, but it's really cool. But in general, it's my first time in San Diego during Halloween, and it was fantastic.
Really?
Oh, it was great.
Were they like, we're going to do The Raven, but we're going to reenact Adam and Robin's reading of The Raven, because as we all know, it's the best reading that there's ever been.
Best ever. Yeah.
I was so excited to do that 2 years ago, and then this past Halloween, there was no extra Halloween content. Because it is Robin's birthday, and I was like all focused about like getting us out to Disneyland and BlizzCon and all that stuff, and I didn't even consider it until just this moment. Like, oh shit, we should have done something extra.
Did you guys do the Oogie Boogie thing at Disney?
Yeah,
we did. We did in like September.
So we did in
we
September.
Didn't do like right at Halloween.
Was it worth it? I mean,
no.
I don't know. If you have kids, I think it would be amazing. And there were certain things that everyone got really excited for, and the trick or treating's fun. But I was exhausted.
Yeah, it was $200 something, and I wouldn't spend $200 for two people again.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it had a little bit for me to do with the fact that we went super hard at the park the day before.
Yeah.
We did rope drop, which I didn't know was a thing, which means you get there before the park opens and wait for them to drop the rope so you can cross into the rides.
Don't drop the soap.
All into that makes no sense, but good advice. Rope drop almost until close of the park the day before. And then we went back to do it again, leading up to the Oogie Boogie event.
Oh my god, that's
so by the time it was about over. We closed it out the second day too, because they basically told us all get the fuck out.
Yeah,
I think my feet hurt as bad as they've ever hurt in my life. So the scariest thing was how exhausted I was.
Wow,
but it was really cool. I think if we had kids or something like that and some disposable income, I think I'd do it again.
Had taken a break that morning and not gone to the park at all that morning, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
So listeners, if you want to know what judgment sounds like, here comes. Okay, you guys ready? I've never seen Night Before Christmas.
I have never either.
What? Oh my god!
I fell asleep in that movie twice.
Really? Oh,
I fell asleep as a kid. I fell asleep as an adult.
What? I'm shamed.
Dude, it's going to be on CNBC. It's going to be on that once that podcast is up and running.
But I got a good excuse. So I was married at the time, and my ex-wife, her grandmother passed, and they were watching it on TV when they got the phone call.
Wow!
So when they got the phone call, she associates.
like trauma.
Yes. So
after that, she never wanted to watch it.
So when it came out as an adult, I'm like, oh, I want to see this. Like later on as an adult, I'm like, I'll check it out. I mean, what's the big, let's do this. She would never let me watch it because it was a thing.
Right.
And so it just became a thing, and I just never watched it, and it's just a thing. Are you guys going to do the thing here in town?
The Tim Burton thing?
Yeah.
We want to do it. Yeah. We haven't really looked too much into it, but I think that'll be a fun event too.
That'd be a really fun event.
Yeah, because if you guys haven't done, have you guys done the Neon Museum in general?
Yeah, I have.
She has. I have not.
Okay, cool. Then you probably enjoy it more because I've heard that Tim Burton thing isn't that big, but it's still worth for somebody that's never been to either. It's a lot more fun.
Oh, okay, we should do it.
So, anyways, so San Diego in not only is it cool because it's October, and your birthday's in October, which is great, so I mean, you should think about doing that. Should. Yeah, it's a really cool experience. But in general, it's so close to Mexico, and then you have the Dia de los Muertos thing going too. So there's a very motif everywhere. You can see it. You
really?
See oh yeah, it's really cool. Old Town's one of my favorite places in the world, so that's where the Way the House is and stuff like that. So I'm always in that general area because I love the restaurants and stuff like that. But they have a museum. They have like a parade there. I think it's like November 2nd, so they shuts down some of the streets and stuff. So it's a big deal in that area because of the Latin heritage in that area.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
really, if you're into that stuff, it's super cool. Really
we were talking about it before the show. It's definitely something, since researching it, I really want to participate in. I did the research not this year, but last year, and then this year we're out and about and we were doing different things for Halloween. And then November 1st, November 2nd, we were obviously in Anaheim for the BlizzCon convention. But it's something that at some point we're totally going to have to participate in because it's just this wonderful holiday. And it was shocking when I researched it. I had an idea of what it was going to be about, and then when you research into it, and it's just really getting turned up to celebrate your relative's life and not their death, and like inviting them back while the veil is thin so they can party with you. It's super awesome, and I definitely want to make it a point to do that at some point in the future.
Yeah, I honestly, when I posted this on my social media, I didn't do enough research. I guess maybe I was too Americanized, so I didn't have a lot of research or a lot of background into what the holiday means exactly. And it's I think one of my first real, like, and I was going to say, one of my first real experiences was that, so that show, it was Altered Carbon on Netflix, and they had an episode where they had a family member come back through that process of that little chip they put in their back of their necks. And I really looked in the episode, and I was like, well, that's really cool, that concept of your family coming back and that kind of stuff. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And then, of course, this year I actually went and did some stuff here in town. And Vegas has a lot of cool stuff to do and stuff for that. And I really got interested. And then I finally watched the Coco movie.
I love that movie.
Really got me like, oh my God, I get this, you know?
Right.
I get this. This is so cool. I cannot wait to... Next year, I'm going to dive deep into it. I know I am. Like, this is my thing now.
I know we relate a lot of things back to it, but we were at Disney, and it was during Dia de los Muertos or right around it, and they have, like, a Coco event in one of the parts of California Adventure, and it's, super cool. Done up for Coco.
That's cool.
And we walked by it, and I think that was actually my inspiration to do Dia de los Muertos last year, as we walked by it. And I hadn't seen the movie, but it was something that I thought to myself, I really should know more about this, and it would be a really fun topic to cover. So it's, I don't know. I'm really excited to watch Coco start to finish. It's going to be really fun to do.
Yeah.
And I really want to dive deep into that.
Do it.
I cry every time, so.
After you guys watch the movie, remind me about it, and I'll tell you a cool story about my family that is really close to the Coco movie.
No shit.
Like crazy.
What?
Like watching it, it was emotional for me because it's an emotional movie, but it was also emotional for me thinking that my mom watched it and knowing how her upbringing was and how it relates almost identical to
really?
It's crazy.
Does it involve Latin people holding grudges far past death? Because that really relates to my family as well.
Really?
Oh yeah. I think there's a lot of Latin listeners that are like,
if you want me to go through this whole thing now, or you guys want me to save it for some of the
Save it for the Coco episode of that podcast. We swear to God we're going to get up and running at some point in the future.
Yeah, invite me over. I'll definitely tell you a story. It's wild. And it's emotional. But anyways, all right. So, Dia de los Muertos, all that stuff. San Diego's really cool. But if anyone's ever been to San Diego, they also have this place called Balboa Park. That it's this giant area where they set aside in San Diego for all sorts of cultural stuff. Whether it be, they have like 16 museums there. They have the zoos actually in the park as well. They have everything's in this park. Balboa Park is a giant thing, like kind of like Central Park, just a giant area that's been set aside for all this kind of stuff for them. And they did a haunted house. It was like a Balboa walk, they called it, and it's about a mile. And it was probably last year. I did Universal. And it was garbage.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
Oh no, Halloween Horror Nights.
I didn't like
not
it.
Good.
No.
Oh.
I've talked to some folks who've went, and I've not ever really heard good things.
Yeah, no.
But I've heard some people say that it was fun, but not too much about like, oh, it was amazing. I want to go back. They're like, it was all right.
So they have the IPs. They have the IPs to do Stranger Things or to do some of the big movies and stuff because they're Universal.
To do Stranger Things?
I think they did a Stranger Things last year.
I know they have
Jealous?
Walking Dead because I remember they started the Walking Dead ride back.
But that's actually not the year I think they have Walking Dead. That's not just a Halloween.
Yeah, because they started that when we used to have Universal Studios annual passes, and we went and we did it, and we were also kind of disappointed in that.
Yeah. It was not scary.
Yeah, see, they have the IPs, and it's cool to like. They had like last year they did a couple of really, really cool ones, but they're just not fun. They're just not spooky. Like, I never really felt the lines are too long. There's something about it. And I ended up getting the fast pass by the end of the night, but it's just not worth it. I don't know, there's something about it. They don't know what they're doing. It's just, it's crazy because as a kid growing up, I used to go to Knott's Scary Farm every year. And so I think maybe I just got spoiled with what a real...
So Knott's Scary Farm is Knoxberry Farm converted for something Halloween. I have a friend who just moved out to California, and she took her kids there, and she was saying it's the most amazing thing that she's ever gone to. So what's that about?
So Knott's Scary Farm is actually, they take the park, and throughout, I think it starts sometime in November. And
what normally is Knott's Berry Farm? Because I hadn't heard about it until I heard
It's another theme park.
Yeah, it's
another
literally
theme park.
It's like,
I don't know why I pictured a vineyard.
No.
But I totally pictured a vineyard when I heard
in your
this
mind
place.
because they're all about their jams and jellies because they really are. It's nuts, you know. But it's definitely a Disney Light. I would say Disney. If they have a kids section. It's like a cross between Disney and Six Flags.
Yeah.
So it's not too adulty and not too kiddie. You're right in the middle.
How have I never been here? This place sounds
It's
awesome.
really close
Dude,
too.
They have
It's
some
not
great
that far.
prices. Yeah, like if you find throughout the year they have these really awesome cancer awareness times where the tickets are like $20.
Wow.
And all of the proceeds go to cancer research and so it's a thing. Like it's really cool. Like they do it for like 3 or 4 months a year. It's awesome. It's really something to do. The rides are pretty good. I mean, they're really it's up there. They're really decent. And
then they switch it over to Knott's Scary Farm like mid-October.
Yeah,
right?
and they've literally been doing it for almost 40-some years.
Holy
so
shit!
They're no joke. Like they're a thing, and they have like this really cool where they have like the hearse day where if you live in California, you own a hearse, you can come and be part of their parade. And you get in the park for free. Yeah, it's a thing. Like, and you be part of their hearse parade, and you go. I'm sure they still do it because I saw hearses everywhere when I was there. But it's a thing. Like you can get in like that, and it's they have like a really cool package deal where you get like a buffet in the morning before the park things, or you can do just like Universal where you can buy so you can go to the park a few hours when it's still normally open, and then you get in earlier when the actual Halloween stuff time.
Right.
But I recommend a Fast Pass. Fast Pass made the park. I think I did every maze twice, and we still left early. It was and their production value. They don't have those IPs like Universal, but their production value was off the charts. Oh my god, they are amazing. Like they had some of the most amazing. They're spooky. I jumped maybe twice the entire time, which is great.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, I'm because I don't get
steadfast
scared.
guy.
I'm not. I don't get scared very easy. So for me to be like, that's really cool. Like that's why I do this stuff. That's why I go to spooky places because I want to see a ghost. I know it sounds crazy, but I want to be scared.
Right.
I want that feeling, and I feel like I just wanted to prove to myself that everything's real, you know. And so I do this kind of stuff just to get I love horror movies. I love all that kind of stuff because of it. And so being there and getting spooked at least twice, fantastic.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome.
But
I was really hoping there would be some IP out there for like a Haunting of Hill House IP. I know we talked about it before the show.
Yes.
We were all talking about how much we really liked Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
Yes.
But it would have been great if they had an actual Hill House to go visit with super creepy shit.
But imagine
Such
just
a missed opportunity.
Walking around in this haunted house and you just see the bent neck lady. How scary would that be?
It would be amazing though,
It would be so scary.
It would just need to be an actor that had prosthetics on that was like suspended by a harness that would just be swinging, and it would be like, we're going to pay you, I don't know, $9 an hour to swing from this harness. Like, this might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you're going to freak a lot of people out.
They had Knott's Berry Farm had a literal like spoof of like Zach Baggins type of stuff.
Really?
Really?
They had
Did
one
they have a
called
person
Ghost
walking around being blind the whole time?
They had a Ghost Encounters one.
Ghostfacers.
And so you're standing in line, and they have like the TVs, and the guy's like, "Yeah, dude, I was trying to Netflix and chill with my girl, and all of a sudden we feel the spooky noises." And like there's all these actors acting,
my God.
and the guy's like recording. They're like, "Really? So what else happened?" Like it's a full blown like wannabe. So when you go inside the actual thing, there's a room, and there's the production value is fantastic, and they supposedly like lock a witch into like a kind of like Ghostbusters like trap.
Yeah.
But it breaks, and she's out, and they literally have someone on a string, like on a hanging, and they fly above you, and she's freaking out as all hell breaks loose, and they split the whole group up in two, and you go two different ways. It is fantastic.
Oh my God.
It is fantastic, and as you're going through, they literally have people. You guys talking about? They literally have people on harnesses. Because I remember, because again, I don't get scared too much, so I'm just enjoying. I watch everything. I see how they're doing stuff. I'm just really curious about how they do stuff. And right away, I see someone with a harness on, but they're not actually cooked anything, and I'm like, why do they have a harness on? And then sure enough, as you turn a corner, there's one of them jumps down at you, and I guess they swap out because they get tired of being in the harness.
Oh.
And so they both wearing the harnesses, but they only hook up every now and then. And that person just jumps from like God knows how high
Oh my
down,
God.
and he jumps down at you, and like so it almost hits you because they're like on a bungee. It's fantastic. Like that's the kind of stuff that Knott's Berry Farm does that no one else does. Like they'll have rooms where you're walking through, and I don't know how they do it mechanically, but the room will shake. as you're walking through it and things like that. They have all these amazing effects. They have one where you literally get a gun and you're trying to shoot zombies with like little pointers in their heads and you're trying to get points and stuff at the end, and it shows you how many people you actually shot, how many zombies you shot.
Is it a real gun and they just count the corpses afterwards?
Not a real gun. It's more like a laser tag. If you're laser tagging,
right on.
It's a full-blown laser, and they have markers on them so you can shoot. And there's like other things, if you shoot it, like things happen, kind of like those shooting galleries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like every maze is so different. They have like a space one. They have an under the sea one. And the under the sea one, they use mist and lasers. So it looks like a water level. So as you're walking through, you're like walking through water.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like I'm like, this is just God bless them. Yeah, I'm going again next year. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go because this sounds amazing. I don't know how we haven't gone yet. So.
Seriously, that when you take that kind of effort to make your stuff, and it's just fantastic. I gotta love them. Like seriously, it's definitely worth it. Do it. Buy your tickets early. If you're not going to buy a giant package deal like I did, where you buy like a fast pass and a parking pass and the ticket, buy early because they were sold out.
Right.
Like regular admissions was out.
I've heard more and more about it the longer I've been out on the West Coast. And I feel like the last 2 years, it's all anyone has talked about, like approaching Halloween. It used to be like Fright Dome out here in Vegas. People used to talk about. You remember that?
Gone.
And we used to give away like free tickets through GameStop for folks so they could go to Fright Dome. And now I don't hear anything about Fright Dome. It's clearly gone. It's just got to be. So
yeah, they canceled I think 2 years ago.
Okay, that makes sense. Now all I ever hear people talk about is Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah, it's the way to go. Really, it's the bee's knees.
It sounds awesome. So is Knott's Berry Farm in San Diego or is that in Anaheim?
That's in Anaheim. Actually, that park, Knott's Berry Farm, is literally 15 minutes from Disneyland.
Yeah, it's not very far.
No, it's just down the street.
Why haven't we been? We're there all the time.
You guys are literally, it's like you just take Catella down like one more street, you're there. It's so close to Disneyland. It's ridiculous.
All right, we're going to have to go ahead and give this a shot.
All right, so anything else from your vacation that was like super interesting?
I guess no. I mean, the Balboa Park maze was really awesome. I didn't get to finish that story. So they do like a maze run where you walk through like a little haunted house, and then you walk for a mile. And every say 100 yards or so, less than that, they have like another room you go into, and it's themed. And they had like Stranger Things because it's a little small thing. No one's gonna sue them,
It just looks like 80s nostalgia type stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
middle school stuff.
And they were really well done. And it's funny because me and my friends, we all walked out at the end after the mile walk, and we all looked at each other and like, that was better than Universal. Like,
no shit.
We were like,
Holy cow.
we do that over the entire park. That's how good it
So,
was.
like, there's a CEO of Universal Studios who listens to Scaryish all the time.
Little
He's
single tear.
just getting ready to sponsor us.
Single tear.
And he has a single tear rolling down his cheek as we shit all over Universal Studios. The Mummy Ride is amazing. Thank you so much for putting that in there. Please still sponsor us.
He jumps on the phone. He's like, call them.
Call them now to make them take it down.
Do it slower.
Do it.
Do some more.
Yeah.
Do it
slow. Very slow. That's us quoting True Lies because
Yeah,
we're all
sorry,
fucking nerds.
Do it slower. But so that was my thing. It was a great little spooky thing, and I really recommend, get out there, do something for Halloween. It's my favorite month of the year. Robin's birthday, which is awesome. One of my best friends' birthday too, so it's definitely something. Maybe next year I'll do something different, but I think I think Anaheim and the Knott's Berry Farm is definitely might be a staple of what else we do. But also in California, I didn't get a chance. I missed it. There is a thing called So You Like Scary Movies, and it's a place.
Oh yeah,
I really want to go.
We reached out to them about a promotional thing, and they did not respond to us about it. Yeah,
I have a bunch of friends that have done it, and we were gonna do it, but we were just exhausted after like 7 straight days of just vacationing. You kind of just want to go home.
So for those who don't know what So You Like Scary Movies is about, Ralph, go ahead and explain. I was gonna say Robin, but Ralph, go ahead and explain. You're the special guest.
Wow, thank you. So it's pretty much like most places here in town we have them, where it's like those selfie galleries where you go through and they have some cool stuff like the ice cream museum, or like these places where there's just a ton of cool places to take selfies. And
we have an ice cream museum?
Yeah, we have an ice cream museum, yeah.
What?
How does she not know
that? It's like
that?
my favorite dessert. Oh my god.
But it's
like your favorite
it's
meal.
It's a lot of selfie areas just like that, But so in LA they have one, and it's So You Like Scary Movies, and I don't know how they got all these IPs, but they literally have rooms set up of different scenes from horror movies, and they're all areas where you can take cool pictures and stuff.
I know one of them that I saw was Freddy's glove, like a gigantic version of Freddy's glove coming down with its claws, and like you can be underneath them, like inside his hand. And I mean, it's enormous. So basically, you're taking a selfie where it looks like Freddy's oversized and about to like kill you. So I saw that on someone's Instagram story, and as soon as I saw it, it immediately terrified me, and then I thought, we really need to go to this thing.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I showed it to Robin.
If you guys need to road trip it, let me know. I will go along.
Yeah, I really want to go.
I showed it to Robin, and Robin's like, I already reached out to them. I was like, dang, girl. Like, you're on top of it.
Yeah, they have a really cool Beetlejuice where they have the entire scene, like that little... where with
the couch and the legs.
Yes,
and
they have they have a couple different scenes from Beetlejuice, but it's fantastic. Yeah, it's a great place. But yeah, didn't get a chance to do it. Really missed it. But hey, there's it's a thing that's
there's
there.
Always next time.
I don't think they're going away. I think it's a thing that's always going to be there. So I'll check it out next time.
Yeah.
Right on. Maybe by then we'll be huge. And we can all meet up there. We can have like a sponsor meetup. Or maybe not. Yeah. Probably not. Let's be real. Probably not, but maybe we can just schedule a time and we can see if we can form a group together of people that are
Here's
nearby.
My dream. You rent a bus on the East Coast and you just pick the scarier people up.
Oh my gosh.
All the way through as you come to California.
We'll just stream that too, and you folks can give us donations for our funerals that will eventually take place when we're murdered from picking up hitchhikers all the way across the United States of America in 2019.
Let's go! Yeah, it's just going to be rough, yeah.
All I know is that the Roaring 20s start in less than 60 days, so...
Are we going to go back to dressing super nice?
I always dress nice to go to work because I work at a bank now, so I just got to start wearing top hats every day I go in now. From now on.
Just with a cane? A flapper all the time.
Maybe, yeah. Flapper, some cane. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see what I toss in. I need some accoutrement for my outfits. So. Did you say cocaine?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there's no need for that at work.
It's the 20s. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Wow, it's the 20s now.
All right, so you were telling us earlier about a movie you watched called Midsummer? Is it called Midsummer?
Midsummer, yeah. I always say Midsummer, but I know I'm wrong. It's Midsummer or something like that.
Is it's a foreign film, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's funny. It's based out of, I want to say Switzerland, Netherlands, one of those two. But it's
a language we can't understand.
Yes. And I watched how to put this nicely. I took out my little Jack Sparrow hat and I put it on. and because whenever I watch a Jack Sparrow hat movie, I don't download the subs. I just don't. It's just like things like it's just more files to download, and there's more chances for corrupted stuff to be in those files. So I just download the movie and that's it. So if it's dubbed, I'm screwed. So, in this movie, there are scenes where there's a few scenes because I googled it because I was like, there's got to be at least some English, some subtitles in some places. And there's actually only like one or two scenes in the entire movie they would put subtitles on. Because
wow.
Yeah, but since I saw it completely no subtitle, it makes it even creepier because
you really don't have
no clue.
Yeah, you don't have full context on what's going on.
You're following Americans that are on this trip and you feel their pain because they don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. It makes it that much more fantastic.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
It's definitely a movie.
It sounds like me growing up as
a
Latin person that doesn't speak Spanish. That sounds like my childhood whenever I went over to Grandma and Grandpa's house.
La Llorona.
Oh, God.
I have no idea. Oh, we still haven't seen La Llorona yet either.
I think I have it up.
But I can pronounce it now. La Llorona.
Yay! Last time I was here, you could not say it.
It only took like 6 months of trying, but I finally got it.
Fantastic. Literally, I remember I just rewatched my episode. And it was, we went over on a tangent where you could not say La Llorona.
It's like the whole, like, Nell is, no, I'm not going to say that, but spoilers, it's like the whole time is a flat circle thing where some things from the future can affect the past. The reason La Llorona is always screaming and wailing is because she just wants me to get her fucking name right. So throughout all of time, she was finally just silenced.
Like the
she just chilled.
She drops in these scenes of you just not messing her name up.
She finally can rest at ease. I pronounced her name correctly.
She's like, gracias. She goes to sleep. Done.
Oh my god! So for Midsummer, I didn't realize it was Americans going.
Yes.
To so they speak English.
I don't know how much you want me to spoil it, or whatever. But I can talk about the ideas.
Okay. No.
I can just talk about the premise for sure.
Yeah, the premise. So it's a summer trip, and these kids, they're
is it a summer trip or a summer trip?
Is it a midsummer trip?
I think it might be midsummer, but they're actually all in college. And they're looking for their thesis ideas. So a lot of them, they have a friend who was from this place. He's like born and raised there. And so he's in their college with them, and he tells them to come down because this crazy festival was like 8 days. And time's messed up.
For 8 days?
Yeah, it's like a thing for like their crops and stuff. It's like a big festival. So, and the crazy part is, I remember before I saw the movie, I did some research on it. All the stuff in the movie, like the different rituals, and it's actually a lot of it's based on reality. There's almost like 80% real.
Wow!
So it sounds almost like the Halloween episode where we just covered like Halloween was the celebration of like the end of the harvest and like burning stuff to keep away the spirits so that you wouldn't have to worry about death in the coming seasons. So
yeah, it's very.
You gotta watch it.
Very interesting. Yeah, the reason I even brought it up earlier is because it's a very disturbing movie. For anyone's listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The way they play with sound, the way they play with video, the way they play, just everything is so disturbing. The way they frame people in the scenes is disturbing because you never know what's going on. Something that happened in the movie, like the way people were, some of their rituals are disturbing. Like it's a disturbing movie, but it's so wonderful. It's definitely it's a movie.
I know I asked you earlier if it was like Hereditary because everyone
the same writer. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, he wrote Hereditary was his first movie. Midsommar was the second movie.
Nice.
No way!
Yep,
oh, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay,
now,
cool.
people say that Hereditary is a better movie because it has better structure. Because the second movie this one is more, just anything can happen, and I think that's what makes it uncomfortable because anything can happen. When Hereditary had a beginning, a middle, and end, this movie feels like for some people it might be unsatisfying the ending, but because you kind of see it coming and things like that. But it's still a fantastic movie. It really is.
Okay,
fantastic
cool.
Right on.
movie. Yeah, it'll freak you out. You guys
We
will
got
talk
a lot
about
of
it.
stuff in our queue, but I think we need to move some of these things to the top so that we can watch it and talk with Ralph.
You'll be bothered within the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like
really?
you'll be
gosh.
uncomfortable. You'll be uncomfortable for the first 10 minutes. Like you'll be uncomfortable. It sets the pace immediately, and you're like, wow, this sucks. And you'll be. It's the comfortableness of just a conversation. And I don't want to ruin anything, but it's just the interaction between two people. It's so real. It's so you can see this. We've all been through it. These conversations you've had with somebody, and it's so uncomfortable because it is 100% real, and it'll make your skin crawl because you've been there. You've been in that.
I feel like
conversation.
we've really been training all of our listeners in uncomfortable conversations for the last 101 episodes, so they can go into this and be like, it's just like a Scaryish episode, no big deal. These guys always make me uncomfortable.
They're going to be uncomfortable because they're waiting for the woo. They're like,
Right.
where's the woo at?
Why didn't the woo come yet?
Wait, I just had to ask myself. You did woo at the beginning, right?
I did woo at the
Okay,
beginning,
cool.
yes.
Definitely woo.
It definitely spiked my audio, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to bring that down a notch in post.
Definitely wooed. Yes.
Right
but I definitely would recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. If you like The Witch, I know we talked about The Witch a little bit.
Yeah, we did talk about The Witch.
If you like The Witch, or if you liked Hereditary, you'll like it. Hereditary is another one where I caught it late. Same as Midsommar. I caught them late. I didn't watch them when they came out. I didn't go to theaters. And I remember Hereditary messed me up as well. It's a messed up. Oh, it's a messed up. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my god!
We own
Yeah.
it. We just.
I think we own multiple copies of it, too.
No, because I sent them out because they were Patreon gifts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Haven't seen it yet. I know that the person who did The Witch is also doing The Lighthouse, which is about to come out, which is about the missing lighthouse keepers, which I have covered.
Yes. When I saw
So
the
if
trailer,
it
I was like,
in
"Is this
any-
them?"
If it in any way crosses over with any of my narrative, I will be expecting a check from whoever the fuck made that movie. If a Yo-Dog pops out in that movie, I will set the theater. I will not do that. I'm not going to even say that on the podcast.
When Batman turns him as a Yo-Dog.
It's like,
Batman
son of
knows.
a
Batman
bitch.
knows.
I hear that Edward Cullen does a mermaid in it.
It sounds hot,
So I'm like,
Yeah.
this
so
sounds
now
really
what am I
weird.
supposed to do with this boner?
right?
I know.
Thank you for that. What are we all supposed to do
I
with
was
this boner
just-
now?
I was just so confused by that.
By Edward Cullen, you do mean
I mean
Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, you mean Batman, because he's the new Batman.
Oh my
That's
god,
why I said
I
Batman.
forgot he's the
That's
new
why I said.
Batman.
That's why I said when Batman turns to him and says "Yo, dog."
Yeah,
you-
I got
Oh my
you. I knew it went over her head. So I know we're getting a little bit too deep in the weeds on this one, but I'm pretty excited about the Batman.
Okay.
There's a lot of good casting going for that.
Absolutely.
Riddler got cast really well with Paul
Yep.
Dano.
Yep.
The Penguin is going to be Colin Farrell. I absolutely love Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell's the
He's
Penguin?
amazing.
Yeah, and Zoe Kravitz
Such
is going to be
underrated
Catwoman.
character. An actor in general. He's amazing.
I forget who they just cast as Alfred, but I really liked Alfred
Yes,
too.
I
so.
remember. Oh my god, I saw the casting. I don't remember, but it was
Who is
great
it? Who is
too.
it? I need to know.
And of course, for Alfred, they cast Andy Serkis,
Who's
which
Andy
is
Serkis?
super awesome. Gollum
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
or Claw, if you will, from the Marvel universe.
No, Gollum is
that's
good for
him.
me.
Or from Planet of the Apes.
Caesar.
Yeah.
That's why he was cast, because
God.
Matt Reeves is the guy who did Planet of the Apes, and he loves Andy Serkis.
Such
Andy
good
Serkis is
movies.
also going to be directing Venom. We're way too deep in the weeds.
Yeah.
let's pull this back.
Yeah, because
right,
I was
so-
about to start talking about Planet of the Apes. Like,
I know, we can go forever on
Oh
that.
my
Okay.
god.
Okay, so
This
here's
is
what,
why we need to have
Yeah.
a movie podcast. Okay, anyway,
yeah.
so here's what we're going to do. All right, I think we're really good on Ralph's vacation, on Ralph's movie recommendations.
Yes.
Let's move into Ralph's past a little bit, because he does have some spooky stories we want to
time
get
for
to.
the spooky story
Yeah,
time.
let's do it. I mean, that's
Before we jump into it, though, we're going to have a quick cut so that we can have a few things run.
Yeah.
Spooky commercial break, because
Wait.
it sucks that we're taking a break.
It's a not so
what
spooky
rhymes
commercial
with
break.
big pole? mid-roll.
Nice.
Oh!
Well played.
Yeah.
All right. But if you're listening on YouTube, by the way, this is just going to move straight over it because there are no mid-rolls.
You'll be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Anyone who listens on YouTube are going to be like, these guys are full of shit. All right. So we're going to take a break right about meow. Boop. And we're back. All right. So that was awesome. Fun stuff. So Ralph, tell us about some of the stuff that happened to you when you were young. We referenced this the last time you were here. Last BlizzCon, not the one that just passed. We all met up afterwards. Yep. We went to Cheesecake Factory because it's where the best conversations and runniest shits happen.
Absolutely.
And while we were there,
the scariest, quickest peas happen.
When we were there, Ralph was telling us some stories of what happened to him growing up and some of the experiences he had. And at some point, Robin needed to use the restroom. And the restroom was on the other side of the building. And in like 6 seconds, she got out of the booth, went to the restroom, peed, and got back because she was so scared.
I was so scared.
In a restaurant literally jam-packed with people.
Yeah, but that
hallway... To be that far away from the table.
One, Cheesecake Factory is always dark for some godforsaken reason. That hallway was so dark. The bathrooms were so dark. There was no one in the bathroom.
Cheesecake Factories are dark the same reason bars are dark. Like, you're looking to pick someone up, but you don't want to see the 12 pounds of pasta they just shoved in your face.
I don't know. I was so scared because the toilets are really loud, and I've already told everyone, okay, I have this strange fear of things coming out of toilets, and it freaks me out, and so I always run, okay?
Maybe she got back so fast.
Yeah,
it was shockingly fast.
It freaks me out.
So we talked about some stuff in the previous episode. If you want to listen to some of that stuff, you absolutely can go back and listen to Ralph's first appearance. But Ralph, tell us some of the stuff that you were saving for your second appearance.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go off some stuff that I know the last episode I talked more about one of my friend's stories, which were pretty awesome. And then I told a little bit about things that I've seen as a childhood, in my childhood in other people's houses, but I never talked about myself or like my own house growing up in and stuff like that. And there's also some other things that happened later on in life that I would really like to share too. So I don't know. I don't know if I should start with my house or should just tell you the other story, the juicy one first, and then go back to my house.
Do the juicy one first.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. It's juicy. So,
or else we'll forget it.
So yeah, when I got out of the Marines, I'd
also like to take a quick moment to say we're recording on Veterans Day.
We are.
Yeah. With a veteran. So thank you for your service, Ralph.
No
problem. It's pretty awesome.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, and thanks to your family. You have family who is.
Yeah, my dad, my brother, both
I didn't
my grandfathers.
text my sister today.
You didn't text your sister?
No, I should have.
Robin's sister. Shout out to Robin's sister, who's a veteran.
Her husband, too.
And her husband, who's a veteran. We have a lot of veterans in our family.
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
you guys are all amazing. Thank you so much
for
everything
We're all one big family, and I appreciate that everyone that did that as well, because we're all kind of a family now. And
you were a Marine. My dad was a Marine. They were both Marines. Robin's
that's wild.
Sister and brother-in-law. So Semper Fi for all you Marines out there.
Semper Fidelis.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Semper Fidelis. It's
Latin. Oh, I thought you were saying something in Spanish.
Always faithful.
And so I was like, wait, what?
It's Latin. Yeah, I'm actually getting that right here.
No shit.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Fidelis, yeah.
Ooh, tattoos.
Oh, for people that are listening, I put it to my forearm.
Oh yeah, there's no camera right now.
Yeah, so side tangent. I grew up my whole life thinking like because I'm kind of a scary looking guy in general. So I tell people like I would never get tattoos, visible tattoos, because it's one of these you just don't want people to judge you.
Do you have non-visible tattoos?
I do. Yeah, I do have tattoos. Yeah. So I want to get my whole sleeve done. So I've been slowly building up like my repertoire of what I'm going to get. And definitely going to get Semper Fidelis on my forearm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. I know it's a little bit off topic, but at work, there's a lot of people at like the assistant vice president or even the vice president level who have semicolon tattoos in like viewable spots that like can't be covered up, usually like on their wrist at some point. And I've noticed it at work a few times. And the semicolon, for those of you who don't know, is a mental health thing because a semicolon can be used in place of a period where something could have ended but didn't. And it's for people who it's like suicide awareness for either themselves that have been through a rough time or someone they knew. And I was sitting there and I was like, wow, like I know that tattoos are really more of a mainstream thing, especially like in the millennial generation. But to see folks that are like even older than I am, like I'm 34 going on 35 at very high levels of business, having like visible tattoos that are semicolons, I was like, this is amazing. Like I think it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. I didn't know that reference. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
I knew someone who had one on their chest and it said "just breathe," but the J was a semicolon.
That's awesome.
So it's something that I'm seeing more and more too. So I know this is a huge tangent, but I definitely think it's something because that's one of the main tattoos that I think about getting nowadays is a semicolon, because I have quite a few friends who have struggled through stuff, and I think I've been through my struggles too.
Yeah. You're gonna get it to cover up your other horrible tattoo.
Yeah, I might as well. A giant semicolon. I have my zodiac on my back because I was a basic bitch. My tattoo is only.
Is it on your lower back or on your back?
I wish it was a tramp stamp, but no. It's on my shoulder blade. Okay. It's a Taurus. But I will say about my Taurus that I got it when I was 16, which means my tattoo is old enough to vote at this point. That's how old my
His tattoo is older than he was when he got the tattoo.
My tattoo is older than some of our listeners.
Yeah.
So, according to our new statistics, our fourth biggest demographic. So,
okay, boomer.
Hey, boomers do listen to this shit, so let's not talk too much shit.
So I had just got out of the military. Let's go back to that. I just got out of the military, and I was living. I went to school to be a mechanic. My family, my dad owns an auto shop. Owned it for my entire life. I can remember, and it's out in California. So I was like, you know what? I'll do the family business. So I started going to school to be a mechanic. I worked at his shop right after I got out of the military because I had nothing else. So I'd go to school in the morning, work in the shop in the afternoons, and I stayed with him because he had an extra room. And one of his employees was the person who used to be in that room, who used to pay him rent, and then moved to get his own apartment because he's doing much better for himself and stuff. And he was always telling me, like, oh, man, you're in a bad room, bro. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, man, I used to see a woman floating above me
my God.
all the time, right?
Rude.
And I'm like, yeah.
Full torso apparition.
Yeah, she used to be like, yeah, on top, I'm floating above me all the time. I'm like, shut up, So I was like, it never saw anything. I never think. So my dad's wife is Guatemalan. He built a house out there. He goes on vacation all the time. That's kind of his thing. He just disappears on vacation, and he'll leave me in charge, and I'll just run the shop for while I'm there. So he did that one time. I don't remember what time of the year it was, but he did that. So I was set back to watch the shop, make sure the money got done, make sure people get paid. And he's always had we've always grown up my entire life. He's had a lap dog, and he had a large dog. And being in an apartment, you can't have a large dog, so he had a little, like, Chihuahua or whatever he had. So this time he had a Chihuahua, and her name was Tiny. I remember that.
Non-ironic name.
Yes. So I was laying in bed, and I had all the doors open because at this point there's no one else in the house. The dog can come in and out if they want. And she always jumps under your seats, and she goes to sleep there. So I'm laying in bed. I remember, like any dog, they get excited and they're wagging their tail. So I'm laying in bed, and I remember waking up, and she was going crazy on my leg. They're just flapping away, and I'm like, oh my God, go to sleep. You know what I imagine? Like, because she could get under the blankets from the front and would just lay in bed with you.
Aww.
So I could feel her on my leg. I could feel the stupid tail hitting me, and I'm like, calm down. So I look over, and I can see the stupid blankets bouncing too, because she's bouncing around there. I'm like, Tiny, will you calm the hell down? I need to go to sleep. And then you hear that distinctive tick, 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 as she's running from outside the room.
Shut up!
Oh my God! I
shut
up.
Into the room. And I looked down, and it's still shaky, so I lift the blanket up, and there's nothing there, and it stopped.
Oh my God!
I was like, damn it, I'm convinced now. There's something in this room. Yeah.
That's horrifying.
That was the worst, because then I'm calling her, you hear the tick, tick, tick with the little nails on the granite ground, or whatever, like the tile floor. You hear the little, like, click, 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 click. Oh my God. I can remember it now just so vividly. The stupid little click, 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 click of her feet as she runs into the room.
Oh my God.
She runs into like completely clueless.
Dog
Like, what's up?
owners know that sound.
Yeah, all dog owners.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was calling her, so she thought, oh, cool, he wants me, She really wasn't bothering me. I don't know what that was. It never happened again, but it freaked me out. I didn't stay there much longer because I worked for a while, and then later on I moved.
Not because of the demons?
No, not the demons. Yeah, we were pretty cool. But no, like I ended up,
we were cool with each other.
Yeah, after I worked there for a while, I ended up realizing that working for family isn't the best thing.
Yeah,
drama.
You're always the last person to get paid. You do too much work. It sucks. It really does. So I ended up moving out and stuff like that, and I still work.
A
with
lot of people out there right now nodding their heads like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Anyone's ever worked for their family, you know exactly how it is. Like you're always. I mean, that's the worst part. Always the last one getting paid. That was the worst. We went on vacation together. And I was like, am I going to get paid before we go on vacation? And even on vacation, I had to almost embarrass him in front of his wife. Like, we're going to get paid now? And so he's like, he reluctantly paid me in front of him. And I was like, that was the last straw. I was like, okay, I think I'm not working with you anymore.
Yeah, that's rough. I don't know how I would handle that.
Yeah, it's rough. But, so back to, that's the little juicy story I figured I'd share. But back to where I grew up at. So I grew up in Sylmar. It's a part of the San Fernando Valley. And you're a Ghostbuster fan. And I think it's really cool.
San Fernando
Valley.
Valley.
When that scene in that movie was fantastic, man. I was like, yeah, that's my city.
Only a Carpathian would come back to life now and choose New York.
Oh, fantastic.
I hate how much I love Ghostbusters 2 because when you watch it back as an adult, if you just watch it with brand new eyes, like you've never seen it before, it is just like, one, it's not a good movie, and it's just like the exploitation of a fan base and the original and everything about it, but I still love it so fucking much. I could quote it from start to finish. One of our Christmas gifts from Glitch Grim last year was Vigo the Carpathian. The painting, this giant poster, it's right behind me. We literally started clearing the walls today to put up our new stuff. But yeah.
That's awesome.
I know exactly the part you're talking about.
So I grew up in the beautiful San Fernando Valley. And so Sylmar is a city in San Fernando Valley, and it's crazy how expensive it is now there. But when I moved there, it was kind of the outskirts of LA, so it was a cheap place to move your family if you're trying to get your own first house. You know, I mean, I think my parents paid like $30,000 for the house. Like,
oh wow,
yeah, it's
that's affordable.
Yeah, at a high point, it hit like $1 million the value of the house. That's how expensive it is to live in California right now. But when we moved there, it was about $30,000. And I remember as a kid, they didn't have enough rooms for all of us. So it was like a den area we had a living area and a den. So for most people, that's like another living room area. It's really weird. Some houses have two of them. So
I remember growing up, one of my best friends had a den, and it was just like a giant family room with like 3 couches and a big screen TV.
Yeah, and that's how we had a TV in there. We had couches. So I usually sleep on the couch, and that closet was in that room would be my clothing closet. And so I grew up there. And that was my thing. And then eventually they closed it off and made it into an actual room. But that was much later off and later on in life, you know. But in that den area, I don't remember if this was before or after all the craziness started happening in my house. But my grandfather on my dad's side died of cancer. He died in that room.
Oh, wow. Man.
Like when he was on hospice. Because my mom was a nurse, so she was in her specialty was hospice. So they brought him there to pass. And at night, you could hear him literally calling out to his wife. And he'd be like, I'm on my way.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he would swear he'd see her and he'd tell her he was on his way. You know, like that kind of stuff. Like, he ended up... So, I don't know if he flatlined in the house, but I know he passed in the house. And the cancer just ate him up. Like, once it hits your, like, liver, you're done. Like, you get, like, jaundice and you're done, pretty much. So, right. Yeah, he passed away. So, I don't know if... I'm trying to do the timeline in my head, and I don't know if it was before or after when all weird stuff started happening. But, definitely want to tell you guys that so that you know, yes, someone passed away in the house, you know?
Wow.
That I know of, at least. So, as a kid, sleeping in that room, it was right next to adjacent to the kitchen, and at night you could hear crazy noises. Like, I would hear people slamming cups down on the counter, and it would freak me out, and I'd scream, and I'd cry, and people would run out there and be like, stop, what are you doing with it? Make fun of me and stuff, telling me, like, oh, what, is a big roach in there doing it? Like, they would just make fun of me, because the people don't think about that, you know?
Yeah.
But also, it's adjacent to the kitchen, but once you go into the kitchen, there's also, to the left of it, there's a bathroom. And that bathroom had it was like didn't have a tub, it had a standing shower. And if I'm trying to give you a visual here, most doors have like a little thing at bottom so that it kind of keeps stuff in. So when you open your door, it'll slide.
Like the suction?
Kind of thing, yeah. So this particular thing had one so that the water wouldn't get out. So it's very tight. So when you open and close it, it'd make a sliding sound because it's so tight on there.
Oh, like a squeegee type thing.
Oh, exactly. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So at night, you'd hear that open and close.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude.
And it's like, the door would slam for the bathroom, you know, and people would be like, oh, it's you know, and I as much as I want to be a skeptic, I'll be a skeptic and say, oh, yeah, it could be the wind. It really could. It really could be the wind. But how? Why would the wind open and close the shower door? Yeah. You know, like the main door, if it slams sometimes, okay, I can see that.
But those things are heavy, too.
Yeah. So
how does wind do that? There's no way.
Yeah, so it's wild. But sure enough, I grew up that way, and you always felt uncomfortable in the house. You always felt, especially in both bathrooms, you always felt something. And my parents, and this is going to be a real deep dive into my life, but my parents split when I was about 15. And in that same bathroom, my mom tried to kill herself.
Wow.
Yeah, in that same bathroom, she tried to lock herself in there with a knife and try to get herself, and we ended up, you know, getting her. They got through the door and got her or whatever, but that bathroom is very weird, you know? It's the same bathroom adjacent to the room where
It's weird because then maybe there's like some energy in there that like
yeah.
made her, you know what I mean?
I don't know about made her, but I totally understand
but like inspires you to do weird things that you normally wouldn't do.
It's just an area where if you're low, it's just like the feeling
of
being
on that
uncomfortable
energy.
and just feeling like low.
Oh, yeah.
Being in a spot like that is just like not healthy.
No, yeah, it's very weird. So that that bathroom was always, especially the bathroom, like the kitchen at night, I hear noises and stuff like that, but that bathroom was the hub of it. Like you hear most noises out of there. So I remember one day we had the Super Nintendo out and we had my friends over. We'd have like tournaments all the time in my living room.
How can bad things happen with a Super Nintendo?
Hell yeah! So we're all sitting.
Now you're playing with power.
Yeah.
Is that the ad?
I think the glove that's the ad for the glove.
Is it? Yeah, that's for the power glove.
Yeah,
that's
the power glove. Now
man, the first time I ever got a Super Nintendo, I was so excited.
I was excited that the games turned on. You plugged in the cartridge, you flicked it, and the game turned on. You didn't have to do like the and then blow in the fucking cartridge.
You didn't have to do any of that.
Or pull the Super Nintendo.
Yes,
well, sometimes you had to pull it a little farther than it should all the way in, then it would work. You know,
that
like
was
it was like
with
little weird
original Nintendo, you basically had to sacrifice a fucking goat to get a game to turn on.
We had like pro moves.
Put the cartridge in the middle of a fucking pentagram made of goat's blood.
Yeah, I was a kid, so I had to like prick my finger, put virgin blood on there. You know?
I know. Right?
Oh my god!
Yeah, once I got laid, it was fucked. I never got a chance to play.
That's why adults stopped playing NES so quickly.
Yeah,
Kids.
Everyone has their like
ritual.
technique in blowing it with the
some people
cartridge.
put like here in the
Yeah,
shirt.
that's what I did. I put it in the shirt and then blow it through the
I
shirt
knew it.
so the
I
shirt catches
knew
all
it.
the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so funny because as soon as you started saying, I was like, yeah, I bet you that's what it is, the shirt thing. Yeah,
Yep.
some people swore by that. I just blow into it. Or sometimes they put the cartridge in and you put it just at an angle a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a slight angle, and it'll work.
I used to do the thing with the NES where you'd leave it just the lip, the notch where the
Yes.
cartridge came together. There'd always be a notch from the top that like was a little bit too far, and you'd line up the notch with the lip of the Nintendo and fucking slam it down. You just press it down until it pushes past you, be like, boom! And it would shock everyone, and you press the button and it would turn on, and you'd be like, yeah, I just did that. This has been a fun reminiscing of Nintendo tech.
This episode should be hashtag
how to
tangents.
age us.
Yeah,
Right.
This is like how to age us all. Yep.
So you have your Super Nintendo out.
So yeah,
you're
it was
having
totally
a
lit.
tournament.
Like,
right? It was lit as fuck, bro.
It was totally lit. I yeeted it, you know?
Yeah, you're like tossing that game and someone's like, yeet. Right on.
So, anyways, so I was on TikTok the other day, and I know.
my God.
No, okay, so
I still don't know how to use TikTok.
what? Honestly, as old as I am, I fucking love TikTok.
Really?
Oh my
Is it
God.
like Vine?
It's exactly like Vine.
Okay, yeah.
and if
I
you
So
like
that means
Vine-
it's going to
TikTok
die
then.
soon, right?
No,
Right?
you know,
That's what I thought
it's got
too.
a big backer, yeah. It's got
Really?
it's getting better. Like, it started off as just a very cringy lip syncing thing, and now it's exactly like Vine. People making cool memes. It's just it's a blast. I
So you're
love
doing
it.
Vine with the
Yeah,
Super
do it.
Nintendo,
Yeah.
having a tournament.
So we're sitting there playing, and I remember I was telling my friends for the first time the story of this bathroom. I said, you know what, this is the situation, and it's what I've been hearing, and they're all laughing about it. And I swear to God, mid-game we're talking, I'm just telling them the story about it, the damn door slams hard.
Oh my God.
Like,
Oh my God.
hard. Like, we were
But there was no one in there.
No. We were silent in that living room for like another 10 minutes just playing our game. We stopped talking. We were like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
you don't mess with this.
The spirits can hear you.
Yeah. I was like, it's a thing. It was
Adam's
rough.
showing us his
His
Full-blown
goosebumpy
chicken
arm.
skin.
chicken skin.
It's because when I was a kid, I had I know I've
You're
told it
so
on
good
the,
at that.
I told it on the
I'll tell you a
podcast
story
before,
why.
but I had a time where we sat down to watch it. We had a half day at school. I had a lot of friends that came over. We were all super creeped out by it, and like we all decided we're gonna watch it. And my dog started going crazy, like something was wrong. And we had a ferret, and the ferret was just like bashing in the side of the cage, and everyone was getting really creeped out. And like our garage door, which was a super fucking heavy garage door, same thing with the sliding thing at the bottom, and then that wood notch to keep it closed, just fucking flew open and slammed into the wall. And like, it makes no sense. We were just going to watch a creepy movie where Tim Curry plays the fucking clown. You know?
Yeah.
But like,
Wow.
something about everyone being creeped out and then the animals getting creeped out and then that happening. Like, when you said like the door slamming, like, for me it was the door opening. And I just remember thinking like, it's fine, be the calm one. But in my head I was like, man, doors closing is creepy. Doors opening is even creepier because I feel like something just came in.
Yeah.
So I closed that door and I was like, let's fucking watch something else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not watching this movie that has
Ugh.
all of us super scared to even think
Dude,
about. All right.
yeah.
So
No, yeah. No. That's rough. That's the kind of stuff you can't really explain. It's really rough. And
Yeah.
it could, again, the skeptic in me is like, oh, it could have been the wind, you know? But the timing.
the timing of
Yeah.
everything.
Us just talking
That's
about
why
it.
with skeptics, I think they lean so hard on the it's a coincidence thing. It's like, yeah, but how can it always be a coincidence? You know, certain things are obviously a coincidence, you know, but sometimes the timing is just so perfect on stuff. It's like, this isn't a coincidence. Like, this is evidence. Like, there's a difference.
No. Yeah, now it hasn't been all bad in the house. Like, there's certain things that, like, so later on in life, and I'll go back to more stories, but later on in life, my sister said she had someone come in and check the house, like, you know, before she was trying to sell it, and she was having a lot of trouble with it and stuff like that, and so she felt that if there is something there, she needed to at least get somebody to come in and, like, I don't know who she talked to or she got to come in, but they came in and she found out some things, like, you know, they say that the house is, like, wasn't all bad. It just, it kind of attached itself to the family and it, like, didn't like the fact that we all left and that kind of stuff. So, like, it also supposedly was doing good as well as bad, you know? So, like,
Yeah.
you know, if you ever needed money, you always had money. Like, there was just good things happen to you in that house and also bad things in it. And the reason I thought it was because something crazy happened that was good in the house that made no sense, but things always, like, a lot of crazy bad stuff happen, you know? And it was not crazy bad, like, no one got hurt or anything, but just spooky stuff, you know? And you figure if there is something there, maybe they're just trying to communicate with you somehow. And that's when I start getting into my other stories. So, the other bathroom, which is more down a hallway, so eventually when I got older, my older sister moved out, so that opened up a room for me. So I got my own actual room now. And this room was literally on the way the house is set up is everything's on one side, the den, the kitchen. So everything's on one side of the house, the den, the kitchen, everything, and then all the rooms are on the other side of the house, and there's a hallway that attaches all the rooms to the living room and everything. So my new room, the heater was actually facing like on the other side of the wall of my room, and then there was so that's kind of creepy on its own because when heaters, we had the old school heaters that would heat up, and it's metal, so it make that popping sound every now and then, like bang, 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 as it's bending. Oh, that was not fun, but whatever, you got used to it because it's just a damn heater. But right when I open my door, I'm facing the other bathroom. Now, the other bathroom.
But it's just imagine laying there and you're looking out the door and it faces straight into this.
So the other bathroom always gave everyone the creeps, and this is the one that had actual tub in it, and everyone got the creeps in that bathroom. And it was just a thing where you just didn't know why, but it gave everyone the creeps. So later on in life, much later now, let me back up something good that happened in the house. So I lived, I'm aging myself again here, I lived through the Northwest earthquake. And so people who don't know what the Northwest earthquake is, it was a giant earthquake in the 80s that just demolished California. It was bad. It was almost San Andreas. It wasn't quite the San Andreas, even though people thought. But I lived in Sylmar, the San Andreas fault, the San Andreas earthquake, the last one that happened in 1972, was called the Sylmar earthquake. So I lived right on the fault. Like that city is gone if they ever have a big earthquake. Yeah, if Yellowstone goes, that place is gone.
That's funny.
Yeah,
isn't the one in the 80s the one that affected the World Series?
Yes. No, the 80s, the World Series, that was the one in Frisco.
Okay, yeah. Good call.
This one's so 70s.
So many earthquakes.
Yeah. The 70s, they had a giant, like 7 point something, and it destroyed like a lot of LA. So in the 80s, this is the 70s. Yeah, wow. This had to be the 90s. I'm sorry. The 90s, I was a kid, and sure enough, so I'm a teenage. I think I was like 13 or 12, somewhere. So I'm a messy kid. You come into my room, I had bunk beds for some reason, even though there's no one else going to sleep in my room. I had the traditional bunk beds, and I was a fucking mess. So I always have a giant mess on both beds. I had shit everywhere on the floor, and I had a little gap that was set up in front of I had like a big entertainment center with a giant TV on there. And back in these days, so it was tube TVs, so they weighed a ton. And I had this giant entertainment center with a TV and my VCR, my video game systems, and I would sleep right in front of it. I had like a little, camping setup where I had blankets and stuff and a pillow. So I would just sleep there. I'd play till I got tired, and I would go to sleep there. And that was my routine every single night. And for some reason, one night, I go to bed, and I walk in, and I'm about to get down, I'm about to turn the TV on, and I'm like, I'm really tired. And I was about to leave my little nest that I have on the floor, and something told me not to. Something said, don't sleep there. For some reason, I walked over to my bed, to the second bunk bed, and I just reached in and I dropped everything off the bed. Like I threw everything off the bed, so there was an actual bed, and I laid down in the bed. For no apparent reason. Like seriously, there's just something told me, just don't sleep in that,
Yeah.
And that night at 3 in the morning, we had the giant Northwest earthquake. It was like an 8.3.
Oh my god!
That took out freeways. Dropped the hospital I grew up in is gone. Like it just destroyed everything out there.
Holy crap!
The entire entertainment center fell right on where I was.
Wow. That TV would literally have killed you.
Killed me. 100%, I'd be dead. There's no doubt in my mind. The entire entertainment center came down right on where I sleep. And there's literally no reason why I didn't sleep there. None. Because it took me more effort to jump off my bed than it would have to just lay down. So then why did I, it's just one of that, just nothing horrible bad has happened in that house, but just weird stuff that makes no sense. Like,
yeah.
Again, it could be just a coincidence.
Right.
But why? I survived for what reason?
For those of you who are too young to know what kind of TVs we're talking about,
big,
cathode ray tube TVs were like vacuums,
TVs.
Literal vacuums, where if the screen cracks, it was glass, they would explode out. So hitting someone with a TV was literally a cause of death, and movies all the time, because it basically explodes glass into your face.
And they were really heavy.
And they were filled with all these metal prongs and cathode ray tubes, which are if you look them up, they're basically little vacuum tubes that would go inside your TV, which would also stab you and release all these chemicals into your face. It's a legit thing where it would have been
these days.
Death for sure.
Everyone has such light, easy TVs to carry around.
Oh my!
Back then,
two TVs under each arm.
Yeah,
just easy peasy. Yeah. It reminds me something of my mom actually did this. When I was 16, I didn't used to wear my seatbelt. I thought seatbelts are for losers, whatever.
I'm too cool.
I got a piece of shit car from my parents, which I dropped the transmission 3 times. But we had a warranty on it, so it could get fixed. And it's one of those things where it's I was very grateful to have a car, but I was going to do whatever I wanted. It was my car. And I was going to see my friend. He was working up at Subway, which was 3 miles away. It was also where I worked. And when you're a kid, you have nothing to do. You go to your job and hang out, So I was going to drive up there, and I got in my car, and right before I left, my mom was like, hey, I was like, what? She goes, wear a seatbelt. And, the first thing that went through my head is no, I'll do whatever I want. And I got to my car, I was like, she's never, ever asked you to wear a seatbelt. And she asked you that because she got a vibe. I got a mile and a half there, and someone blew a stop sign, and I T-boned them because they entered into an intersection. I didn't have a stop sign, and it was the middle of January, and the roads were covered in ice.
Oh, yeah.
And I hit them so fucking hard. I hit a Ford F550 Super Duty diesel on the driver's side, hard enough to crack his arm. My rear end lifted off the ground, and my car twisted in the air, and I wound up in a ditch pointing the wrong way. My car was totaled.
Wow.
My hood came through my windshield. My dash collapsed on my legs.
Wow.
And I walked out of there, and all I had wrong with me was airbag burn on my arms, because I locked my arms to my steering wheel. And like when I hit it, I distinctly remember thinking, like, everything goes in slow motion. That's not a joke. It's not a cliche.
No. Yeah.
But the sound that came out of me was like, ooh! And I remember thinking, like, that was the stupidest fucking noise you've ever made in your life.
You're so
Dead serious.
It's like Macho Man. He's like, "Whoa,
Right? And then, like, the car came to a rest, and, like, it was just fucking bouncing around like a rag doll. And the ditch I was in was, like, 6 feet lower than the road. So my car was just, like, at an angle, and I'm, like, sitting there, like, dazed.
It's a weird
and
feeling.
my stereo came on, and Real Big Fish, Sellout, came on at, like, full fucking volume. And I'm like, I just paused it, and what hit me was the smell of the airbag dust.
It's horrible.
And I was like,
it chokes you.
Yeah, I was like, this is the smell of panic. And instantly in my head, I was like, I gotta get out of this car. And I got out. I was completely fine. The guy who was driving it was just some small, short little dude, like 5 feet tall, driving this giant truck, driving the company truck home from work. And he got fired. He got fired because he got into an accident. And I felt really bad about it. And then, like, they took him to the hospital, and the ambulance showed up, and they took my blood pressure. And there's like, you're calmer than I am now. Like, your blood pressure's lower than mine is. And I was like, I'm just kind of grateful right now. And I, you know, every parent's worst nightmare, but I started the phone call with, hey, Mom, just so you know, I'm okay. She's like, oh, God, what happened? I'm like, I got into a car accident. You know, and I remember since then, like, I have literally never gotten in a car where I was driving or in the front seat where I did not wear my seatbelt. Yeah, and crazy. After that, it became a habit because, like, when you have an instinct, if you share that with someone and it impacts them in that way, it's just like, it's gonna start a habit, you know, where it's wow, that straight up saved my life. Because if she wouldn't have said that, I would have gone straight through that fucking windshield, and I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. Like 100%.
That is crazy. Like, we like coincidentally, I've had it where I stop at a stoplight or a stop sign, and I don't go because something tells me not to, and so I wait an extra few seconds, and all of a sudden someone drives right through it.
Right,
just completely bells through the other stop, and I'm like, wow, that he would have just gone through me. Yeah, it's crazy. But you know what? You're saying what you're saying. For those people that don't know, man, if you're in a car accident and those airbags go off, that is some suffocating smoke. It's hard to explain. Like, it'll hurt you. I don't know. They call it like airbag lung. Like, you'll cough for like a month. Like,
it's
no joke.
Pretty much
it's
exploding
rough.
Nitrogen pellets, right?
Yeah. Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure it's just like
whatever's like whatever the airbag is wrapped in.
It's like LeBron James, just that thing.
Yeah, it's the same, I swear to God, it's like that same talcum powder shit. It's to make sure that the airbag doesn't, like, because it is a bag that's going to inflate, that the bag itself, like, doesn't crumple or fold or crease. It's just, like, laying against itself, so when it inflates perfectly, but it literally just flings this dust in your face.
Yeah, it is so suffocating.
My arms were so locked out. The airbag never touched my chest. It never touched my face. It went between my arms.
He was too swole.
No, like, I locked my elbows so tight, and like my forearms looked like they had the worst rug burn of all time.
Arms?
No, like I hit it so hard, and they were looking at my arms. They're like, yeah, like that airbag didn't touch you, dude. I was like, no. And when the airbag stopped, it literally threw the dust in my face. Like what was on it. When I landed, I was like, holy shit, this is gross.
Your airbag was like pocket sand.
Oh my God.
Your airbag, pocket sand.
It was just like, man, I remember like coming to a rest, and that vehicle was just demolished. Yeah. And then like it got towed, and I went and saw it the next day at the junkyard. And the guy was like, took us to see it, and he thought I was the guy driving the truck. And he pointed at my car. He's like, you know that guy's hurt. And I'm like, that was me. And he's like, how are you standing here? I was like, I have no idea. I was like, I wore my seatbelt. Oh, and my seatbelt was the other thing I had. I looked like Freddy Krueger had clawed me across my chest. Wow. I just had that black and blue mark. The black and blue mark of a seatbelt on your body for like 3 months.
Tell me how you felt the next day.
The next day,
the adrenaline was gone?
I was so, like, I knew I was in shock when it happened, but I was so sore.
Oh.
And all these, basically, it wasn't because of the impact. Every muscle that had never been used tensed. And I was like, I didn't even know I had abs there. You know? Like, all I knew is that they were sore.
After I got a huge accident like that, I was laying down trying to watch TV, and I couldn't lift my own head up. Like I had to like hold my arm up and lift my head up because every muscle hurts so bad, and you don't feel it for a day or two sometimes because the adrenaline and everything, the shock is gone. Oh, afterwards it hurts.
Yeah, when I was in pain, that's when my mom was like, "You need to go to the hospital just to get checked out, just to make sure because your shock is worn off and like." You need to go and get checked out. My friend's dad was at the ER that day.
Oh, nice.
And I went in there. I was like, I had a car accident. It wasn't today. I'm just coming in to get checked out. And so, like, they moved me in there really quickly, and he evaluated me. And I was like, thank God it's someone I know, because I feel, like, a lot more comfortable about the fact. Because I was kind of nervous. Like, maybe something is wrong, and I just didn't notice
internally,
it yesterday.
you never know.
Yeah, so it was weird, though. Being 16 years old, just getting your license, driving for a little while. That insurance company could not settle fast enough. My brother got into a motorcycle accident when he was, I think, 20. Someone ran a stop sign and hit him. And it took them like 4 years to settle that accident.
Wow.
It damaged his hip. He was all sorts of messed up. My accident settled in 5 days.
Wow.
They called me and they're like, this kid's going to have injuries.
Yeah.
They saw the car. They knew it was 100% their driver's fault. And they could not pay me out fast enough. So I was just going to talk to my parents. Does this make sense? Is this the right amount? They settled for 3 times what my car was worth, and that included my medical bills. And I was just like, I was a junior in high school, like, I'm balling.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, we're definitely deep in a tangent.
All right.
Yeah, this would be #tangent.
Right.
This episode would be like Scaryish #tangent because we're going off.
We'll just have this be the tangent episode.
Right.
So I was saying, so the thing fell and it did that. Okay, so that bathroom, you just, as growing up as a kid, like it has a window facing out to the street, and so you usually leave it open because it's just why not, and so
Air
it's just
circulation,
creepy.
whatever.
Yeah, it's just a creepy like view out to the street. And it's just a creepy bathroom, and so you don't think much of it, but. Later on in life, once everyone moved away, my sister stayed. She actually ended up picking up payments of the house over from my parents, and actually ended up just staying there for many years. Ended up selling it, moving to Vegas after so many years, but she stayed there for a good another 15 years after we all moved away. And she had 2 sons, and one of them, I remember this is a story. This freaked me out, but one of them came to her at night once and woke her up and said, "Hey, I need to use the bathroom." And she's like, well, just go to the bathroom. And
but he's
like,
too scared.
He's like, I can't. He's like, well, why can't you? The lady won't let me.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so he kept saying there was a lady in the bathroom that would scare him. And she wasn't necessarily like evil, but he scared her. And so he would not want to go in the bathroom at night. Or at least not by himself because the lady would scare him.
Yeah.
And that I've always felt like kids can see things that we can't.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that you can't. So... And I'm going to finish up one of the stories, the last story. I told you guys this on my birthday because I went to go eat sushi, and I told you on my birthday like last year. I think it was this year? Yeah, I think it was this year. And I don't know if you guys remember the story, but I remember relaying these stories to my mom once, and we were talking, and I was like, because I moved back from Minnesota a couple years ago, and so my mom, I have a house, and she lives with me now, but she wasn't living with me at the time, and then she had broken up with her boyfriend, so she came and moved back in with me, and I was relaying these stories with her. And she's like, yeah, do you remember this story about the baby monitor?
I do remember the story.
Yeah, and I was like, what story about the baby monitor? Because I remember telling her the story about the lady in the bathroom. And she's like, you remember the story? I'm like, no. So I pull up the chair, like, let me hear the story about the baby monitor. So I guess when we had I know I had already moved out, and she was still living there, and one of my sister's kids was still an infant. And they were in the living room talking, and they had the baby monitor in the living room, and you can slowly start hearing a lullaby on the baby monitor. And they both were like talking, and they didn't pay much attention to it at first. And they start, wait a minute, like no one else is here but us. And they're hearing this lullaby, so they slowly kind of both look at each other. They get up and they grab the monitor because it's battery powered, and they slowly walk towards the room with the baby monitor, and the lullaby is still going. And when the time they hit the door and they open the door, it stops and no one's there.
Wow.
So, could that be that it wasn't a bad spirit? Like, could there be something there, and it's not necessarily bad, but they don't know how to communicate? Like, could that be a thing? Like,
or maybe they like babies.
Yes.
They like protecting people, but at the same time, they're like, look, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. is my time in the bathroom. Any kids that come in here, I'm going to scare the shit out of them. Like, stay away. This is my ghost recharge time, okay? You idiots are finally asleep, and I don't have to deal with it.
3 a.m. It's my time. But
maybe they just...
Right, that's true. Oh, my God.
Maybe they just look scary, Maybe it's not their fault that they look that way.
Exactly.
They just do...
Just imagine, like, when you go to a restaurant. Like, when you go to a restaurant, if you have a baby or you're with a friend who has a baby, like, and a waiter or like a stranger sees your kid, they just look at them like they make that goofy face. Yeah. They're like, "Oh my god, it's so cute!" Like, imagine being a ghost and seeing a kid and trying to make like a goofy face and have that same reaction. And like, maybe they don't know they're dead, or maybe whatever it is.
But their goofy
like,
face is absolutely terrifying.
It would look terrifying if it's like a disembodied spirit. You'd be like, "Oh my god, there's an old lady every time I try and take a poop who makes faces at me. I really don't want to go in there."
Yeah, I remember my sister telling me that she somehow she appeased them somehow, and that's how she was able to sell the house and everything was good.
Cool story about selling houses. My parents couldn't sell their house in Texas for a really, really, really long time. And they kind of did the same thing where they're like, okay, we're going to somehow appease the I don't know, real estate spirits. And they had to get like a talisman of some sort and bury it on the property.
Wow.
And then soon after they did that, they sold the house.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing too. Like, skeptics claim coincidence, but it's like when it's a consistent thing, like it just winds up, if it's a scientific study, like at some point the standard deviation just goes to like, it's evidence, it's not a coincidence when the stuff keeps happening. Like, it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, I know one of the reasons was she rented it out. She rented it out and his family was supposed to be great and everything went to shit. And so she always felt, because this person, whoever she talked to the people, talked about the house, said that they weren't happy with this family, or they weren't happy with the fact that we all left, and they wasn't having. So she ended up, once that family moved out, or I think it was just a couple, she completely revamped the entire house, like redid everything, like flipped it, like if you were going to flip it type of stuff. She completely just redid every aspect of the entire house, and then sold it to a family with kids. And I've heard nothing but great things since then, that they love the place. And I think it could be the possibility that whatever's there didn't like all the family left, and then the people that came to rent it were just a couple, and they don't have kids.
Not a family, right?
Yeah, because when I moved in my backyard, like in my patio, there's handprints of little kids and stuff from like a family used to live there and stuff like that. Like, they're not my handprints, like they were there from like when we moved there. So it could possibly be the family that lived there before us. You know, it could be any of that stuff. I don't know, but but it definitely worked out.
It's where they want to have kids around or something like
that.
It's
it's really weird too when it's like you have a house that's gone through stuff like this, and you have all these memories. And when you're trying to sell it, you're like, let's get a family in here with kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know what would be really good for these ghosts? Some kids to torment. Some people that won't be believed if they say they saw a ghost. But, you know, it's probably more along the lines of your thing. Yeah. But it's just where my head goes. If I was a kid moving into a house, I'd be like, oh, yeah, toilet ghost. This sucks. No one will ever believe me.
I'll give you a really, really weird story. So one day I get home, and I was already I think I was already 18 by this point. And I get home, and I pull my car in, and there's a black cat just sitting there. And the black cat had a crooked tail. I remember that. It had a broken tail. It was crooked. And I'm like, so I park my car. I roll down the window, and I kind of reach, like, I had my little head out, and I was like, you know, do the whole thing and whatever. Sure enough, the cat comes running up. And I was like, that's weird. So I open the door up, and he just jumps in my car. And he just jumps in, and I'm like, what the hell? So he jumps in the passenger seat. He's just kind of hanging out, and I'm like, okay. So I get out of my car. I'm like, come on. And he jumps out of the car, and I walk over there. He follows me all the way to the house. I unlock the door. I open the door. He runs right in. And I'm like, who the hell is this cat? That cat, we could never figure out if it was a girl or boy. We just couldn't figure out if it was a girl or a boy. It lived with us farther than it should have. Like, that cat, like, got a tumor once for a while, and it went away. Like, this cat just lived there. They named it Pixie because I think they thought it was a girl, but we're not. To this day, I don't know if it was a boy or girl. But that black cat lived with us for the rest of ever. Like, my entire time my sister lived there. Other cats, other pets, they've had other pets, and it got along with all the other pets. Like, it was just a staple of the house, and I have no clue where it came from. The tail ended up getting straightened out by itself. Like, this cat was weird. Like, it was straight up a familiar. It was a familiar,
so
or was Zachary Binks.
There's no way.
Super weird. Yeah, that cat was so loving, and it was a street cat because it had literally fangs that would hang out of its mouth. Like, it was a freaking street cat. And he would come home with, like, just scarred up because it fought some other cat or something like that. But it would also come and it would sit outside and cry, and then you'd open the door and have, like, a bird for you. And it would throw the bird in the air and, like, smack it around and, like, try to show you, like, hey, look what I got you. And it's like, you had to be like, thank you, cat. You grab the dead bird and, like, take it in the trash, you know. But it would always constantly do that, bring, like, a rat or a dead bird or something like that, and just present it. It would cry outside, and you'd think something's wrong because it'd be, like, a weird cry where, like, it sounds like it's hurting, but it's because it had it in its mouth and it couldn't cry right, you know. And it would just come home and it would be pretty much there all night, but at night it would just dip and do stuff. And it was the weirdest thing in the world. And I remember one time it brought a white cat, and it brought this white cat because it's all black, and it brought this cat that was completely white. And it made no sense, and it brought this cat home, and I brought it in, and the cat ended up passing in a couple of days later, but I took care of it till it passed.
Aww.
And it was the weirdest thing in the world because this cat just came out of nowhere. Like, it was just a thing. Like, why did it bring this cat home? Why did it, it was sick. Like, I didn't know it was sick, but it slowly just deteriorated immediately. And so I pretty much took care of it. I remember the feeling that the one thing that came, like, I was really upset about this cat passing because it's hard to, like, know that you have an animal just dying in your room, you know? And I remember thinking, somebody told me once, and I remember who told me this, but they said, maybe that cat came and maybe he brought it. Maybe it's something that cat, but that cat at least understood what love was before it died. And I think maybe that's why it came to you.
Aww.
And I was like, that's just the weirdness of that house. Just the weirdness that happened.
That's so bizarre.
That is so great.
Yeah, it literally brought this white cat. All white, too. Is perfectly opposite of him because he was all black.
Whatever happened to the black cat?
So my sister moved, but my sister finally moved away and sold the house. That cat had already, like, everyone loved him in the neighborhood. Like, everyone fed him.
Okay.
So, like, he would spend half the day at, like, the neighbor's house or, like, half the day at our house. Like, because she, at that point, she was already rented the house for a while. And then she moved back in it after the renters left.
Yeah.
While she could fix it up. So he came back and lived there. But at that point, a lot of people knew him and pretty much everyone kind of fed him and knew, like, he was just the cat that hung out in the area, And it was just a thing, I don't know. Who knows what happened to him since then, but the last time I saw him...
He's probably still alive.
Yeah.
He's probably got Benjamin Button's disease.
Dude, last time I saw him, he, like, was missing a piece of his ear because he fought. Like, he fought all the time, so he'd always be jacked up, but he had, like, a chunk of his ear was gone, but he was still... And, he had a really bad, like, they ended up, like, having surgery because he had a really bad, like, weird tumor in his face, and my sister took him to get it cut out, and he fucking survived and lived and thrived. He was a monster, yeah.
It's Thackeray Binks.
Thackeray Binks?
Thackeray Binks.
So does Zachary Binks.
No, his name's Thackeray.
Get the fuck out of here. I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Who is that?
From Hocus Pocus.
It's the cat from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know.
Was the guy from NCIS when he was young who got transformed into the cat. Pretty sure that's him, right?
I heard they used the same cat from Sabrina. That
they
same
must
mechanical cat. They used the same one for Sabrina, the teenage show, the show. They used the same cat.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I remember.
Why waste props?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spaghetti cat too.
It's kind of funny because I think like black cats have a special place in my heart. We have a black cat. Our black cat's named Aria. when we went and saw Aria, they told us flat out like she doesn't like people, and if you adopt her, you won't see her for days at a time because she'll hide and she won't want to come near you. And they brought her into the room with us, and she jumped in our laps, and they're like, she doesn't do that with anyone. Just seeing.
Well, no, that was the second time we saw her because the first time we saw her, she hid in the back of her little cage thing. And I was like,
but
okay.
they didn't put her in the room with us. Is my point. Like the first time they put her in the room with us, that's when she jumped in our laps. And we left, and we were going to come back and look at a different cat later in the day, and we just both talked about it. We're like, I really think that's our cat, like we should go get that cat. So we went back, we told them like, hey, we want to see her again, and she did the same thing. We went and we picked up a bunch of stuff, we adopted her, and on the way home, Robin was wanting to take her out of the cage. I was like, please don't take her out of this thing in the car.
Not a good idea.
Like, it's going to be a nightmare. She's going to be all over. We're going to have to go into the seats to get her. And she's a kitten. She's 3 months old. And so, like Robin does, she completely ignored my advice, opened the thing. She walked out. She crawled into Robin's lap. She curled up into a ball, and she started purring. And
she was such a good cat.
She
still is.
Whoa, yeah. Like,
our
she's
cat
still
does
here
not.
somewhere.
Our cat does not like a whole lot of other people. Like, she takes a really long time to warm up. But, like, for us, she chose us. Like, she straight up chose us, and that's how we felt. And literally she learned her name in, like, hours.
Yeah. Wow. So you'd say Aria, and she'd run into the bedroom?
She'd run to you and, like, lay down on you. She still does that, too.
Yeah.
But we really felt like she chose us, and it really feels like that cat chose your family. Yeah. And it was
so weird. It was the weirdest thing in the world. I pulled up, and she was just there.
The reason that, like, black cats have a special place in my heart is because my grandfather used to walk. My grandfather lived in Whiting, East Chicago, Gary area in northwest Indiana. And he used to walk. Best area. It's not a good area. It's not a good area, and you definitely wouldn't want to like do daily walks around it. But that's where my grandfather grew up. Everyone knew him. That's just what he was going to do. That's the way it was. And he found a black cat. And when he found a black cat, he took it home. And my uncle went and saw him, and my grandfather gave it to him. And I can't remember what his name was. I think it's Jet, but my uncle's had a couple of black cats. But he gave it to him, and my grandfather told him, like, this is a warlock cat. Like, and that's what he used to call it. Like, this is a warlock cat. Like, it's really old, but it's not going to die. Like, it's going to just stay alive because that's the kind of cat it is. So he gave it to him, and I can't remember how long my uncle had him, but he had him forever. And anytime my grandfather would go to visit my uncle, the cat would run up to him. And this cat didn't like pretty much everyone. He would fight anyone that tried to touch him. And the only people he liked were my uncle, kind of, but my grandfather, because my grandfather was the one that found him. So my grandfather went over there one day, and he was in the bathroom, and the cat walked in and saw him, and the cat hissed at him, and it ran away. And that was normal behavior for this cat, for anyone else but my grandfather. Mm-hmm. And my grandfather walked outside and he talked to my uncle and he's like, hey, the cat hissed at me. The cat saw death over my shoulder. I'm going to die soon. And my uncle's like,
chills.
that's bullshit. Like, he probably just saw you peeing. He probably saw your dick and freaked out.
Yeah.
My grandfather died 2 weeks later.
Oh, my God.
Yep. The worst part about this story is, and I know no one like, oh, God, no worst part. We went to go watch my brother, it's Veterans Day, graduate from the National Guard boot camp in, I think, Camp Lejeune in South Carolina or North Carolina?
North Carolina.
So we went out there. We all drove out there. My uncle was there. He boarded his cat. He came back on Saturday. We were going to stay the weekend.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, and he called us, and he was crying. Someone brought in their cat to be put down, and they took his cat, the Warlock cat, and they put his cat down while he was on vacation on accident. So he got back, and they're like, sorry, we killed your cat on accident. That's how...
How does that happen?
That's how that cat died.
Yeah, how does that happen?
And it was funny because, like, I know I've talked about this before, and some people are like, Jesus, we've heard this a million times, but... Yeah, I used to have these feelings when I was a kid, and I used to tell people, like, you should start calling people. Something's very wrong.
Yeah.
And I had one of those feelings when we were on vacation in Florida. We called home. I was really young. It was when I went to Disney World. We called home. My grandfather had a heart attack. So when we were at Camp Lejeune, I told people, like, we need to call home. Something's really wrong. And we found out about the cat, and I was like, that is totally not what this is. Like, I don't know what this is, but I know this is wrong. And we were driving home on Sunday. It's a really long drive to Northwest Indiana from North Carolina. And, like, I could not shake this feeling, so I took out my cell phone, and I started calling my friend's parents. And I was like, couldn't get a hold of anyone, and I got a hold of one of my friend's moms, who I did not like. And I was like, hey, just tell me everything's okay. And she's like, did you hear about so-and-so? And so-and-so is someone that's really close to me, super close to my best friend. And I was like, no. And they told me, like, hey, he had an accident. He got pinned under a lawnmower, and he was underwater for 10 minutes. And, like, he's in the hospital. And I was like, that's what it was. And it was right when I started having this feeling.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, like, I think about those things, like, simultaneously when I think about black cats. So, like, I don't know. I think that's probably why I always talk about it around Halloween. Like, it's one of those things where they looked at as bad omens, but, like, black cats have never been bad omens. No. They've always been, like, so tuned into shit that it's like, you might be afraid of what they're trying to tell you. And black cats crossing your path is not a bad thing. For me, my cat crosses my path when I go to give it fucking food every day.
She does this weird thing where she looks at you and she meows like she wants your attention. And as soon as you put your hand out to touch her, she bolts away super fast. And you're like, well, fuck you then.
She's like, I'm good, thanks.
I mean...
She's like, no, touch me with your eyes. Like, I posted that meme once, like, where the cat's like, touch me. And then you, like, reach over, like, no, with your eyes. Like, what?
I like the one where it's like, my pitiful loneliness will never end. Dear God, why am I so alone? And then someone reaches out to pet. It's like, don't fucking touch me. That is the most cat meme.
I posted that as my dating life. I'm like, this is my dating life. Like, oh, I'm so lonely. Like, don't you fucking touch me.
It's so perfect.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. One last tangent, I guess, end the show to wrap us up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do think...
there's one more story.
Which one?
The cemetery story.
It was the San Diego one.
Cemetery story. Okay, so in Kingman, is that where you're at?
I was in Bullhead.
I'm sorry, Bullhead. I always get the Kingman and
Bullhead City, because Bullhead and Bullhead City are apparently
so
two
what's
different
across
places.
the river from Laughlin?
Bullhead City.
Okay, cool. So in Bullhead, fun fact, next time you go to Bullhead, once you turn that go off the bridge and you make a right and you're going down to like where your store used to be, you pass a cemetery. You ever notice it on the left hand side?
No.
There's a giant wall with a cemetery, like a giant brick kind of like cement.
It's
wall
really
thing.
nearby where we rented jet skis from when we went down there.
Okay,
it's right across from the park. Right
I've
there.
probably never paid attention.
So, fun fact.
Shocking absolutely no one.
She was like, Ralph was here yesterday?
What?
So, yeah, no, okay, so...
I haven't seen Ralph in a dog's age.
That cemetery's been there forever, since the city started. It's always been on that hill. So on hills, unless you have something holding the earth together, things slide.
Oh, no.
So, under one giant storm that hit Bullhead City?
Yep.
Yeah. The entire cemetery slid down to where the park is now.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So,
we were at that park.
Yes. Oh, I went ghost hunting there once with rods. With rods and like little rods. It was pretty cool. Anyways, if you guys ever want to do that ghost tour, there's a ghost tour that takes you all the way down that area. It takes you to Oatman, takes you all that area. But anyway.
I will skip the Bullhead City leg of that tour because you can find meth heads there as well. And they are very real and very dangerous.
Meth head hunting's not that hard.
No, not that hard. No.
Not at all.
I'm going to go to Boulder Highway. Good to go.
All right.
That's a place here in Vegas. So it ends up that once the water receded, there was absolutely no way to figure out what belonged to what.
Oh, no.
So if you go to that cemetery, there's one giant plot, which is a ton of names on it. And there's like, they just put
It's a mass grave.
Yeah, it's
Holy
a mass grave.
shit.
So that park is supposed to be crazy haunted right across from it.
I believe it.
I would be super angry.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like, that's really no one's fault except for whoever put it on a hill.
Planned it. Yeah, the city planning was really bad on that. Yeah.
But man, just imagine being dead and just, like, your body
I've never
slides
thought-
all the way
Imagine being
down
a
a
family
hill.
member. You're
Right.
like, where is my... it's just a giant pile of just bones and dead bodies.
It's like, did they die recently?
I've never
Otherwise,
thought-
we're never going to figure it
Yeah.
out.
But hills, I've never thought of hills having that problem before.
Yeah, they just... Because you figure you're pretty much the gopher effect. You've made a bunch of holes in an area, and then with all the water seeps in, there's no trees, nothing to hold this land. It's gonna
Especially in desert landscape.
Yeah, so that's
where
why
it's just going to
now
landslide.
it's a giant concrete wall type thing. They put cement there, so it holds everything, all the dirt and stuff.
Wow.
So if it rains, it doesn't slide down anymore. But the entire
did that
cemetery,
happen?
I'm not sure the year. You can probably look it up, but I'm not sure the year. But it's a story. It's definitely
Wow.
happened there. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's kind of cool to go at least once to take pictures or whatever. you know?
Yeah.
Get haunted.
Super morbid.
Yeah.
Hashtag get haunted.
Hashtag get haunted? Nah. We don't want anyone to get haunted. We have users that are like, I got a Ouija board. We're like, why? Why would you do that to
Well, I mean,
yourself?
maybe you can go blind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Go
Make
blind.
some millions.
Get possessed, go blind.
Buy your own haunted museum.
Yeah.
God.
Boom.
All you have to do is
Boom.
exploit people for 15 years. So,
Yeah, there's not besides the haunted museum. There's also a scary museum in Boulder. You guys been there?
No, what is that?
It's a makeup artist who did movies like Puppet Master and like Toxic Avenger. He pretty much did all his props over, and he has his museum. He did Gremlins. He did a bunch of and he has it's a museum. You pay like $15, and you go through the entire museum and you look at all the props he has. It's really
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's right on the main street when you're going up to going up to Boulder City.
I would go to that, and I will go to that.
Yeah,
So
that's a
right
nice
on.
little day trip. Yeah,
So that's a better note to end on.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. So pretty good stuff. Ralph, thank you for coming and talking to us
thanks
again.
for-
We appreciate you. We were
Man.
talking like, I wonder if we're going to have enough for an episode, and we definitely did.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we crushed it on this
we
one.
went to
Oh, did we?
tangents like you wouldn't believe.
I know. I feel kind
I
of
know.
bad, but
I think this one should be titled the Tangent episode.
Yeah.
no, we got to call it Ralph Returns. I've already thought of it.
Yeah, hashtag tangent.
The alliteration. But yeah, we should definitely warn folks. I'll warn folks in the description, like, Ralph
Yeah.
comes back to give us ghost stories and tons of tangents.
Yeah, we went. Oof, we talked about a lot.
Yeah.
yeah. I think the ghost part was very tiny.
Yeah, but
It was actually
I
a
guess
lot
you would call
longer
it
than you
kind of
think.
scary-ish, you know.
We
oh, we
switched
are
over.
scary-ish. So
We switched over into Ghost Talk around, according to my recording, like
Yeah.
the 45, 50-minute mark. And we're at an hour and 42 right now.
wow.
Yeah, wow.
So, and I know I'm going to cut some stuff out of this and it won't be that. So people listening, they're like, you're a liar. It's an hour 38. Yeah, I got stuff to take out. But we sincerely appreciate you coming back and talking to us.
appreciate
We're
it, man. I'm
obviously
here
going to have
anytime,
you
man.
back another time.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I'm trying to start my own little channel, so hopefully I'm going to review some horror movies, and I'll have you guys on for that.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
and
great.
once we get our thing
Do you
going,
have
we're...
your channel name and everything
Yes,
done?
to be Beast Nerd. Yeah, I've owned the domain for Beast Nerd for pretty much everything.
Nice.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, all social medias, YouTube. I own B3AST _ and 3RD. But right now, the only thing I really use it for is Instagram and stuff like that. But
Okay.
yeah, so eventually I had an intro set up. I showed you guys a really awesome intro, and it
Yeah.
got deleted. So I have to wait till that gets redone, and then I can start recording and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right on. When it goes up, too, we're going to plug the hell out of it. We'll do some
Appreciate
cross-promotional stuff. It'll be
Hell
super
yes.
awesome to do. And then once we get Scene Missing officially up and running, we're definitely going to have you back for some fun stuff. So.
Yeah, we already have a movie picked out that we're going to watch all together. And
Gotta do it.
I've never seen it. You've never seen it. We've never seen it. Sleepaway Camp. We're going to see that eventually.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So I think part of the reason why we go on so many tangents is because having good conversation, you just think of something that you want to talk about. There's something else you want to talk about that doesn't exactly connect. And I think it's one of those things like that meme where it's like, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got really excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
I think that's why we do what we do. And hopefully when you folks listen to our episodes, it's not that frustration of like, damn, why don't they stay on the same subject? But, oh my God, this reminds me of something.
Yeah.
And if it does trigger something, if listen to any of the stuff that we talked about today triggers something that you want to share with us, please do. Email storytime@scaryish.com. Tell us your stories. Tell us what it reminded you of this. If you've been to some of the places Ralph has been. If you've gone through similar experiences, whatever they may be, we definitely want to hear about it. So email storytime@scaryish.com. You can also go to our website, scaryish.com, and click on Contact Us. Fill that out. It comes directly to us. Or hit us up on any of our social medias. We have Facebook. Facebook.com/ScarishPodcast. Twitter is @ScarishPod, and Instagram is @ScarishPodcast. You can also join our Discord if you want. I haven't plugged it in a while, But you guys still find it and you still join it, and it's amazing. Go to Scaryish.com, scroll down, you see all of our social media links on the right-hand side of that page. Find Discord, click it, it'll take you straight to it. We'll say hello, someone will say something really cryptic about an inside joke that you don't know, and then eventually you'll be part of them in a second.
It's always, we talk about corn a lot.
Everyone always says welcome to the corn, because we had like 2 episodes of the live show.
I remember the corn stuff.
All anyone was talking about was
right.
the Americans were explaining to the Australians in the chat, like, our, not obsession, but like all of our corn dishes and what a elote was and all this other stuff. And then Connor donated us a bunch of money specifically to go buy corn with. So we bought corn, we had a meal, we had to post it on our Instagram. So then all of a sudden, like, our chat was taken over for like 2 or 3 days about just corn talk.
You should make that as a Twitch thing. You're a corn.
A Twitch emote?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We have no. It's a Twitch elote.
A Twitch, wow.
That was
Emote.
Good. That was good.
Emote.
Yeah. Blend them together.
Yeah.
But yeah, join our Discord. We'd love to talk to you. We have some really good conversation in there. We have a mental health chat in there where we can all talk about when we're having rough days. Ulrich suggested we have a chat or a channel called Good Ghosty. Hashtag Good Ghosty, where we can talk about stuff that's happened to us that's actually positive, which is really good. And then we have just a channel for basically everything you could possibly ever think of. So
yeah, Discord, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of different
I posted
channels.
a screenshot on my Facebook, and someone mentioned at me, like, man, you're poor Discord, because they thought, like, I just ignore it. I'm like, no, dude, like, I'm on it all the time. It's just constant chatter. Like, there's nothing I can do to keep up with it. It's just when you're at work, you have to go back to it every now and then, which is amazing. I absolutely love it. But yeah, one last time, Ralph, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Sincerely.
The people don't understand. We literally had like a 3-hour conversation
before
this.
We totally did.
Yeah.
So
we had to stop ourselves sometimes mid-sentence, like
we gotta save this.
Save this. Yeah, because it's as an outsider looking in, I listen to the episodes, and there's a lot of times where I feel that, like, I want to jump in and be like, oh, what you're talking about, I know this, or, like, throw a comment into something you're talking about, especially because I know you guys. So it's a little harder for me because I really want to be like, like, say something about it. But so being here, it's rough. We go on tangents because I get the opportunity.
There's so much to talk about.
There's so much.
Yeah, and if you have that same feeling, like, don't be a stranger. Like, reach out to us. Definitely let us know what you're thinking, and we appreciate that interaction. But Robin, for those folks who would like to donate to us, I know we got a new patron today. How can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/Scaryish podcast, and their monthly donations tiers start at $1. I am actually shipping out the rewards for this month.
I watched her.
Yep. I'm packaging them up right now. And then I have the designs all set and ready for the winter holidays. So I'll be sending that out next month. If you guys want to check that out, again, patreon.com/Scaryish podcast. Then we have one-time donations at ko-fi.com/Scaryish podcast, and those help us upgrade our studio setup, which we have done recently, and it's great, and it's all thanks to you guys, so thank you.
Sincerely, we love you all. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us, and I think that's just about everything we have for this episode.
Sign us out, Ralph.
Ralph, go ahead and sign us out.
Oh man, this is so much pressure, but I think I'll do it. How about you guys just keep on creeping on,
and we'll talk to you next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.